This is why I
know, but Rico knows, and your friends don't know. Betting lines, placing wagers, money grows in a parlay on the Gators and the Nose. The Big Ten, the SEC, we on a roll. A little bit of UFC and oh, the money flow. I said your friends don't know, but Rico knows. I said your friends don't know, but Rico knows. I said your friends don't know, but Rico knows. I said your friends don't know, but Rico knows. College football, transfer portal on the road, check the film. High school football, here we go. Check the line, bet the over and we on a roll. A little bit of UFC and oh, the money flow. I said your friends don't know, but Rico knows. I said your friends don't know, but Rico knows. I said your friends don't know, but Rico knows. I said your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. And your friends don't know, but Rico knows. And your friends don't know, but Rico knows. And your friends don't know.
Hey, good morning, MVP. Shout out to you guys on YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff. I'm RicoKnows. It is Sunday morning. The game's just ended for Week 8 football. I'm here to talk about it. I was up pretty late, yo. I was up pretty late watching Stanford do their thing. Shout out to them. We're going to talk about all the results. But before we get into the game and I give you my assessment of what went down and we talk about some of the players and things, just a reminder. We do have Patreon. We do have YouTube. Go become an MVP. Change your life. Let's talk about our results. I'll pull up the charts in front of you here. Let's pull up the first chart there are several charts on this screen in front of you, so let's talk about them. First one is against the spread. My goodness, this might be the worst week I've ever had, ever in 3 years that I've been doing this. It is a tough spot to be in. Went on an absolute run in the leans column. Absolute tear, went 13-6 on the day. Feel really good about that. Remember, I tell you guys this all the time. My locks are my personal locks. Like, they have nothing to do with you. They are what I put in the locks column. Whether they're locks for you is your business. Same with the coin flips. If I say a game is a coin flip, you might think it's a definite slam dunk. An example would be SMU at Clemson. You might hear, oh my God, this quarterback is out. They're with a backup quarterback who's never started before. I'm going to take SMU, and that's a lock for me. And that makes you a really good gambler. That's great and all. For me personally, where I make a living is down here. It's called RicoKnows Favorite Plays. I had some MVPs asking me, Rico, it's so much easier to get things right when you actually tell us your confidence in the picks and the plays and the locks and things. And I'm like, I am giving you my confidence. I put them in confidence order. These are the games I believe in. And if we're really paying attention, we missed Miami and Western Kentucky during the week. That means I only missed one game yesterday on the money line in my favorite plays. I missed one game money line all day yesterday in this corner. I told you round robin these. Your Saturday could have been all of these games. Don't parlay them, round robin them, and make a ton of money. But instead, you ignore that. I literally made it a section on the chart and put my name next to it. You don't care because you have your own strategy. Now, I know this. There are people with short attention spans. There are people that are not going to watch this video all the way through, so I want to get it out right now. Okay, just so we're very clear. Fuck you. With all capital letters. Fuck you. Every single dude who crashed out, the guy who sent me 8 DMs telling me Kim's sucking his dick and all this stuff. You, I want you to know, buddy, you are going to be a failure in life at everything you do. Shout out to Steve. You're blocked on every platform but this one because I don't know your profile name. So I hope you're watching this video. I let it marinate, okay? Now, The money line bets. This chart. We've been money all year. We've been money all year. Dialed in. This was the first week where I actually broke even on coin flips and went 12 and 12. That kind of sucks. But 12 and 5 on the leans column, 15 and 4 on the loss column. What can you do with this? Well, you can decide that you want to parlay a 205 with a 360 and flip a unit if you wanted to. That's your business. Okay. You could go out here and say, I'm going to take the whole afternoon slate and parlay it together. You would have slam dunked it. How about the fact that I put an underdog in the leans column? I never put an underdog in the leans column. If I like an underdog, it's always in coin flips. It's never a lock. It's always in coin flips. Rico, why don't you pick underdog? I pick a shit ton of them. It's a coin flip. Not when I picked Missouri. I made it a lean, meaning I felt Missouri to win this game 78% of the time. Somebody asked, how can I be better as an MVP? What you can be better is by studying where you're getting your information from. If you're eating from this part of the menu, it's probably not the place to be. I'm going to talk about restaurant reviews right now. If you went to Red Lobster and you ordered a fucking cheeseburger, you set yourself up for failure, bro. You really did. I went to this great burger joint. I remember I went to this great burger joint. Shout out to them. They're called the Village Deli. They told me, Rico, you go there, you get this, this, and this. They told me all these things. And I opened up the menu, and I ordered what they told me to. I ordered the burger. I got the burger. I got the good stuff. And I enjoyed my meal. And then I went back 2 weeks later, and I was like, yo, that meal was amazing. Let me see the menu. Now I'm going to try to pick something to eat. And I remember I looked at the menu, and off to the right was Mongolian stir fry. It said Mongolian stir fry, and the first thing that popped into my mind was, yo, we used to eat Mongolian stir fry when I was deployed. That shit was the bee's knees. Yo, I used to go to this place where you could make your own bowl, put all your stuff in it, and then some guy cooked it on the grill for you. It was amazing. I want this Mongolian stir fry. And I ordered it. And it came out, and it looked like it came from a can. I didn't know what the fuck I was eating. This was gross. And I said, yo, I just ordered Mongolian stir fry from the wrong fucking place. That's what you guys are doing. You're ordering parlays. Oh, my goodness. The parlays are insane. Tell me, Rico, you're ice cold. Look at this. Go to the bad beat section. Shout out to my boy DJ Game Dog. He's trying his best. DJ Game Day Dog. He's trying his best, man. I'm with him. Look at this motherfucker. It's fine. He's a bad beat, Reek. It's a bad beat. How many things did you parlay? What are you trying to get to? What plus number? By the way, it's the only favorite play I had that missed. But what are we doing? I talked to you guys about, hey, man, you guys, like, I'll give you an example. We'll pull up the props chart. I'm going to finish that thought there. But here's the alternate spreads chart. It's hitting at 68% on the season, I think. Let me double check that. Yeah, 68% on the season. These are all the alternate spreads. And you guys will parlay fucking 6 of these. It's insane. 1 or 2, I get it. How about a guy told me, Rico, oh, you can't hit. You're on the broad side of the barn. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 out of 9 value bets. They're all plus money. 7 out of 9 in a row. You didn't hit a single one. I know you. You didn't hit a single. Rico, there's too many spots to eat from. Had a guy tell me, Rico, there's too many spots to eat from. You have too much information on the chart. Just give me 3 good locks this week. You mean these 3 up here that flipped you a unit? Just give me 3 good locks this week, Rico. I speak on every game. I give you a play on every game because if I don't, MVPs will send me DMs. Oh, Rico, I didn't see you say anything about this game. You didn't say anything about Oregon Rutgers. You didn't say anything about this game. And they just keep going, no, can you give me this? What about my bet on this? What about that? And it doesn't scale. I got 2,000 people sending me messages. So now I just give you information on every game. And whether you agree with it is your business. Whether you think I have a really good grasp on it is your business. Like, I'll tell you, I'll be like, yo, guys, I don't know who's winning this Bowling Green game. I got to pick a motherfucker. I don't really like Bowling Green at all. I say that every week. I got to pick them every single week. I don't care who they're playing. I'm like, I don't have a good read on Bowling Green in this game. That should tell you guys, like, hey, I don't like this one. But instead, what'll happen is you'll see it and you go, oh, Rico said do this, do this, do this. So let's go. You got to learn what part of the menu you eat. I don't know if you like seafood or not. I don't know what you like, but I can tell you this. When I look at these money line charts, I go in here into the locks column and I start looking for shit that I believe in that I would want to parlay. Now, I'm not trying to bet on the 3,500, 4,500. This don't matter. I'm looking for the ones I believe in that I would want to parlay. And I don't get too big about it. I told you I don't like anything more than 2 legs. But Rico, that's a minus 150. That's not enough for me. Well, then keep losing. That's enough for you to lose. My job is to win. I'm not that upset about yesterday. I'm really not. To be honest, I got to be clear with you guys. It's the greatest weekend we've had when it comes to prop bets. And the reason is because we did a phenomenal job at one point during the week. These are all the weekday games where we just slam shit over and over and over. I absolutely knocked Tulsa ECU out the park. I think we hit every single bet that night except for one. So that was Thursday night, right? Yeah, I hit 12 out of 13 bets. But you're only as good as your last bet. You're only as good as your Friday when people went out there and put the most money on the biggest game of the weekday games. And that's the hardest part about this is getting people to fight their urge to bet on the biggest games. Like, for example, UFC yesterday. UFC, I told you the biggest lock on the card was Lucky Luciano. It was this girl, Stephanie Luciano. She's the greatest. She's the lock. She's not losing. It's a minus 300. Go parlay that with something you believe in, like Tulane. I say that, and then I read the chat, and I see the MVPs, and dudes are telling me, I got all my money on RDR. I got all my money on RDR. And I just sit there going, what the fuck? You're fading the second best fighter on the entire fight card? That's what you're doing? You put all your money on two main characters, like 2 great fighters, and you picked one? That's stupid. Absolutely stupid. But I can't do it for you, bro. You live your life. So enough of that. Talent chart, win 5 and 6. Always difficult. It's got to pick the toughest games every single week. Just under 50%. That's a shame. But for the third week in a row, not only are we slam dunking this joint over here in RicoKnows Favorite Plays, on the season, RicoKnows Favorite Plays are hitting at 74%. Not only am I slam dunk, those are UFC lock caliber picks with UFC lock caliber odds. And we're slam dunking this shit. Over 100 picks at this point. I'm at 74%. You don't care because you don't know how to gamble. That's real. How about the moneyline underdogs? For the third week in a row, moneyline underdogs would have made you money. You put a unit on every single one of these, whether you believe them or not. Every single one of these, you would have been in the green. That's week 8. That's week 7. And week 6. You would have been in plus money just betting on moneyline underdogs. And you skip them all. Or you go and pick one and you miss. And then you say that section doesn't work for me. Once again, I had an underdog right here where I believe in it. I had an underdog right here. Can't get off it, bro. That would have been a full unit bet. If I'm watching this, I'm going, yo, that's a full unit bet. But you know what? The people who are losing aren't even watching this results show. That's the reality. I don't think they're watching it. One guy wrote to me on Twitter and said, you're cold. And I'm going, what? The fuck you talking about, bro? Like, I'm warm. I got a blanket. Fuck you. What you mean? Every prop hit in the afternoon slate, every prop hit 13 in a row. Are you insane? 13 in a row. Yeah, Rico, but those were all minus 120s. Yeah. Those are all unit flips, except for the minus 320. Those are all unit flips. And there's a plus 100 right there. What the fuck is wrong with you guys? You just going to skip them all? Nah, I don't like none of those. All right, man. Well, that's life. That's how that goes. But let's go talk about these games. Shout out to the MVPs who are figuring it out. And if you're not figuring it out, watch the videos. Learn about the teams, get educated, and we'll keep it moving. All right, let's break it down. So first game that I'm going to talk about is, oh, by the way, if you're here watching this, I appreciate you. I will be jumping to the chat at some point. Let me pull up the chat box just so I can see it, just in case you guys are here. I apologize. We do get a little carried away. I will jump to the chat. It said disconnected. Are we connected? Can I get a test chat a test comment on YouTube. TikTok, if you're watching, move over to YouTube. Drop in a comment. Anybody watching right now on YouTube, can you throw a comment into the chat so I can see if it's actually working? I might be disconnected. Sorry about that, if we are. It says successfully connected, chat disconnected. I'm sorry to make sausage in front of you guys. Can I get a comment? It might not be working. Test. I did a test. Thank you so much, David in Arizona. By the way, shout out to Dave in Arizona. Did provide a shirt this week. I got a shirt in the mail. Watch the video. Shout out to Coaches Bryant, MVP. These are MVPs. These guys are here all the time. And if you see Dave's name in green, it's because he's a YouTube MVP, one of the very few active YouTube MVPs. And Coaches is an MVP, but he's on the other platforms. Shout out to my boy Coaches. All right, and good luck with the police academy. Listen to this. So first game, New Mexico State, Liberty. I told you Liberty's winning this game. They win the game money line. They don't cover the spread. It's pretty simple. New Mexico State is trying to throw the ball this year, so they have Logan Fife doing it. Kadarius Callaway ran pretty well in this game. I did not expect that to happen. It happened. Dejon Stanley comes back from injury. He plays well. So they were out there. They had a little bit of running going on. When it mattered most, they didn't make the plays. TK King, actually, I think he fumbled at one point. Yeah, he fumbled in the game, lost it. TJ Pride fumbled. So just in the clutch doing things. I think Donovan dropped the pass. That would have been clutch because he was on 4 receptions, things like that. But Ethan Vasco played a terrible game, and they still found a way to win the game. So I'm happy with that. I was not impressed with the way Liberty looked in this game. Evan Dickens was not moving the pile. They weren't getting good yardage. It's just they look like they were sleepwalking, like they don't give a shit. And that's hard to have good football on a Tuesday. Tuesday, Conference USA football, it's going to be hard to watch, and it's going to be bad football. Shout out to Liberty for getting it done. I'm not impressed with Liberty or New Mexico State, for that matter. Arkansas State. I told you Arkansas State would not score a lot of points in this game. I didn't think they'd keep pace with South Alabama. That's exactly what happened. They didn't score a lot of points. If you go to the prop chart, I go in here like this, and if you scroll down on the prop bets and you look, by the way, we knocked out New Mexico State, Liberty, and everything. But for Arkansas State, I said they wouldn't score 24.5 points. I was 100% right. They did not score 24.5 points. That's just knocking the assessment out the park. But Bishop Davenport and these boys did not get it done either. South Alabama couldn't score at all. And then you blow this game that you were going to win. In the fourth quarter, Arkansas State comes out, scores 12 points, and beats you. You have a chance to kick a field goal. You're up by 2. You kick the field goal. We cover the spread. We're all excited, or at least the alternate spread, things like this. And then you miss the field goal. Arkansas State comes back and kicks the field goal and wins the game. It's a shame. It's a shame. And it's the reality of South Alabama's season this year. They're 1-6. They're 0-3 in the Sun Belt, the Fun Belt. They're not a very good football team. They lost a lot of talent in the transfer portal or to graduation. They're just not a good team. Sorry. FIU, Western Kentucky. We learned in this game, FIU's corners are better than Western Kentucky's wide receivers. I was also very frustrated. I talked about this to you guys. I thought that Western Kentucky would recognize their receivers couldn't get open and that they would just start running the ball. That's what I said. I even said it. I said, I don't think the receivers are going to get open, or there's a chance that the DBs are going to be good. Brian Blades, Brian Blades Jr. or the third or whatever he is. And it just feels like FIU's got good corners. So maybe they're going to run the ball. And that's when I started saying, let's get Lavelle Wright used. Because I've watched Lavelle Wright used. I've watched Marvis Parrish used. I've watched George Hart used. Like, they can use these guys. Nah, they don't adapt. They just went out there and said, oh, we can't get open? We're going to keep throwing. And we're going to throw 3 interceptions. Up to this point, Maverick McIver was 12-2 on touchdown and interception ratios. Then he throws 3 in a game. It's insane. It's insane the way they don't adapt, they don't adjust, and it's embarrassing. Shout out to FIU for getting it done. FIU's got some athletes. And they made Kewan Owens look like the best running back in Conference USA, which he's not, right? Cam Cook still exists. But, man, back-to-back games now, Owens is out here running, or at least in the last 2 out of the last 3 games, I think, he's been dominating. And that was just crazy to see him get a career-high 195 yards. Yikes. And it's difficult. And if it's difficult to predict group of 5 games, especially some of these lower-level games, I want you guys to remember this. All the dependable players at the group of 5 level, all the consistent players, the guys that you know will get an anytime touchdown, the guys you know that will get a first down, that will win the game for you, they've all transferred. They all left. So when you see Dean Patterson and Eric Rivers over at Georgia Tech dominating, whoever's now starting in their place is not as consistent, is not as reliable. And that's why these teams will look great one week and terrible the next in the group of 5. Whereas in the Power 4, you can look at it and go, yo, I believe in Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Michigan. Like, you just start pointing out the teams you think are going to be consistently good every single. Ohio State, slam dunk. Every week, people ask me, Rico, why isn't Ohio State the number 1 team on your charts and all that? Are you fucking idiots, bro? Every week, Ohio State's a lock for me. Every week. Oh, I'm with Ohio State. I'm on Ohio State. I'm on Ohio State. They're consistently great. They're reliable. You're not going to get that at the group of 5 level when these teams are a shell of themselves. So 3 years ago when I started doing this, I knew every group of 5 team, and they had their nucleus. They had their group of players. They had a triumvirate. They had 3 returning starters, 1 at quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. They had the triplets going. They had a whole offensive line returning from last year. That's not the case. Now you can't have 3 all-conference. You know what team has all-conference linemen that returned from last year? I'm going to give you one team in the group of 5 that has it. I'm wearing the shirt. It's Troy. And this is why I know Troy's winning every week, and this is why I made Troy a lock this week. Because they have consistency, and they built their team, and they didn't lose all their best players to the transfer portal. That's why I believe in Troy. And that's just a little bit of me peeling back the curtain for you guys. Next game, Jacksonville State beating Delaware. Well, if we got a cash cow this year, it's Cam Cook. Slam dunked this joint, dominated the pick of Cam Cook getting 2 touchdowns and his under yards. We talked about this with one of the MVPs. We got it to plus 800. Cam Cook, if you take his 2 touchdowns being scored and his under 119.5, you will win crazy money. Guess what happened? It hit. Now, Caden Creel, this dude, he needs to stay healthy because Gavin Wimsatt can't be in these games. Creel needs to stay healthy. Creel can run. He can do things. I don't know if he's healthy. I don't know if he got hurt or what. Got to go back and check. My memory fading me right now. Ellison is scalping touchdowns. Pay attention. Minakuchi got one, or Minakuchi's still the guy that you would want to he got 1 passing touchdown, but you would want to be running it in the red zone just to keep the defense honest, if you will. If not, Joe Silver's never getting anything. Joe Silver's getting nothing. Joe Silver was stuffed in this game, couldn't get any yards, couldn't make anything happen, and that's unfortunate because I believed in Joe Silver going into the game. 6 carries, 2 yards is not it, bro. Receiving, fucking Sean Wilson. Sean Wilson, 3 catches, 17 yards, embarrassing. He was targeted like 10 times. 10 times. It was incredible. Incredibly crazy. Shout out to Cam Cook, though. That's the only reliable guy you can believe in this entire game. Jacksonville State finding ways to win. Jacksonville State might win Conference USA again. Repeat as Conference USA champs with a different coaching staff, and not a good one. So shout out to Jacksonville State. Those players are getting it done. Next game, UTEP, Sam Houston. We knew this was happening. Slam dunk. Not worried about Sam Houston. Going to fade Sam Houston every chance we get. They are not good. Hunter Watson, I think he got hurt in this game because Mabry was in. Mabry came in at the end. But even Landon Locke, if you guys remember him, he used to be a quarterback at, was it ULM? And he was at Texas State first, and then he transferred. He's been all in these terrible teams. UAB, maybe? I don't remember. I've seen him for fucking 4 years now. Shout out to him. He's just on the outside of being a starting quarterback. Running backs, I felt like Landon Brown took over this room. He played exceptionally well. Alton McCaskill was okay, not bad. Nobody to really throw to. I'm not that excited about anything they were doing. On the other side, we were on Kenny Odom. We were on Kenny Odom, and we were on Kenny Odom. It was such a joy. I had Kenny Odom 40 yards receiving in this game. I told you a Kenny Odom touchdown was possible, and both happened in the 3rd or 4th quarter, and it felt like despair because Kenny Odom had 10 receptions for 67 yards. It took a miracle, and it happened, and that's such a good feeling. And people will forget all about that good feeling when they go out and they believe in some other teams and they go do other things. That's not my problem, but it felt good for me. So shout out to Kenny Odom. Thank you for coming through. And what I'm saying is Kenny Odom came through, but people parlayed it with a Delaware wide receiver after the fact, and I just can't help you. I just don't know what you're doing. I can't get down with you. I don't know what it is. Thursday night, only one game. It was East Carolina against Tulsa. I knew East Carolina was winning this game and covering the spread. I had no doubt in my mind. I love what ECU is, how great they are. They're very strong in the trenches. They play well. Hauser throws well, throws 300 yards. Some of the known commodities at ECU that you can believe in are Landon Montgomery. That dude's going to get what he needs. He's going to get his yards. He went for 125. He broke for a 50-yarder. Marlon Gunn is a north-south runner. I hope he's taking the number 2 running back spot. I'm tired of seeing little Engelman in there. He's cool and everything, but, man, that boy Marlon Gunn, I called it. I said he's going to score a touchdown, and he did. Shout out to me. I was dialed in on Thursday night. This is the best night I think I've ever had as a capper in getting the script right. This Thursday night was a fucking awesome night for me. Just letting you know. Anthony Smith had him at 40. He went for 150. He got it in one catch. We hit all our props before halftime. It was fucking beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Shout out to us. Everybody's hitting. We just know who we can believe in. We know what receivers are good, what players are good. On the other side, Tulsa. Baylor Hayes, bad little dude. Got a little Baker Mayfield to him. I like him. He runs around. He looks like somebody's little brother. Just not going to win this game. It's going to be tough to win in the American. I don't like their chances. It's just tough. But he did get his 150 yards passing that I said he would. He got to 250, actually. And then Dominic Richardson struggled to get his yards. He was up against it, man. That nobody can run against ECU. Nobody. They're just tough up there. So shout out to them. Receivers, Foley. They left the tight end wide open. I don't know what that's about. Over and over and over, but nothing to really write home about. Shout out to ECU. Felt pretty good. And the Friday night games. We got Miami losing to Louisville. So I said Miami's winning this game. It's a lock. They're going to cover the spread. I believe in Miami. Defensive line's great. What they're doing, all this stuff. Watching it back and assessing it for what it is. Now, let's just be real. Carson Beck threw 4 interceptions. He really threw 5. The refs bailed him out. He threw 5 interceptions, and they called it roughing the passer, and they called that one back. Thought he played horrible, but I think the offensive line played worse. I really do. He was under duress the whole time. These running lanes weren't open at all. Mark Fletcher's running straight into defensive linemen. This comes down to Louisville's front 7 being so stout. Like, I'm not impressed with anything Miller Moss did. Miller Moss was gross. Miller Moss was off target the majority of his throws. What you see is Chris Bell going to the house on Yak for days. Chris Bell's getting a catch and then taking it the rest of the way. These passes weren't great. The routes weren't great. It's just Chris Bell gets open on a drag because he can outrun OJ Frederic. When you find out your corner can't run with that guy, then you don't run man anymore because then they're just going to run a drag across the whole field until he gets away from that guy. It's a silly, simple premise. You saw you couldn't play man against this guy, so stop playing man and just zone him, bring somebody over the top, and make somebody else beat you. And Isaac Brown was going to beat you anyways. So Isaac Brown rushes for over 100 yards. You can't cover Chris Bell. And that's essentially the game. It's unfortunate, but it's the reality. And then when we talk about the front 7 for Louisville, there's stuff in the run. The linebackers are great. And I've talked about Louisville linebackers since the preseason. I didn't think they were winning this game, though. And as a matter of fact, 5 turnovers or 4 interceptions, and Miami only loses by 3. That's the craziest part about it, is you had a chance to still win the game. That's how bad Louisville is. But Miami, if you show up on your worst day and you play like that, you're not going to win. The other team's got decent players. Isaac Brown's a good player. Chris Bell's an NFL receiver. I talked about it before the game. But yeah, that's remarkable to me that you have 4 interceptions and you only lose by 3 points. It's just, I thought it was a masterclass by Braum in a couple of ways. You each have 2 weeks to prepare for this game, and one coaching staff schemed their players into conversions, into fake punts, into fake field goal, whatever it was. Like, they were just doing all kinds of shit, putting people out on the field, moving them in different places, giving you different looks, things you'd never seen on film before. And Miami didn't do anything. Miami showed up and played vanilla. I think Miami spent one of the weeks just chilling, and that's the difference, right? It's just tough, man. It's just tough. Shout out to Miami for losing. Next game. This one was a little more embarrassing than that one. Nebraska, ranked in the top 25, should be dominating this game, and they looked hapless. They looked terrible. They couldn't stop Darius Taylor. Darius Taylor, I told you he wasn't going to rush for anything. He rushed for everything. Did whatever he wanted to do. It was Dylan Raiola just looked lost out there. That defensive line that I have assessed from Minnesota to be great, they showed up and they were great. Stuffed the run all night, got a bunch of sacks. Like, it was just real. Absolutely real. All these receivers at Nebraska, none of them were open. The DBs did what their job was. And that's just the problem with Minnesota is, man, It's almost like I should have said something about Louisville first before I go on, and that's Louisville is probably going to the playoffs. Have you looked at Louisville's schedule? They're probably going to the playoffs. So now, when you look at Miami, they're probably going to the playoffs if they win out. That looks like 2 teams from the ACC. It's crazy, man. Crazy. Minnesota, they're 3-1 in the Big Ten. They're 5-2. I don't know what kind of momentum they're going to get, but beating Nebraska is not a good look for Nebraska. It really isn't. It's not a good look for Matt Rule. Were you distracted all week thinking about Penn State? Thinking about a new job and a raise? I don't know, but you played like shit. Just keeping it real. And Minnesota played inspired football. I don't know if anybody's going to beat them at home. Not that night. And there were 4 games on Friday. There were 4 games on Friday. And you spent all your units on Nebraska and Miami. And you ignored the Utah State hit. You ignored the fact that I got Utah State right, and I knew they would beat San Jose State because I don't trust Walker Eget. Don't give a fuck what he's doing. Because I know that Danny Scudero was not healthy. Shout out to Leland Smith for scoring a touchdown. I told you that was going to happen, and he did. I'm picking a backup wide receiver. Well, not a backup wide receiver, but a backup option to score touchdowns, and I'm saying he's going to do it, and he did. But at the same time, I think Utah State's winning the game. Why? Because their offense can just move the ball. They got a guy in Bryson Barnes doing this. I told you Bryson Barnes anytime touchdown with a Miles Davis anytime touchdown. Unfortunately, Miles didn't get touched the ball that much, and he didn't score the touchdown. Shout out to Utah State. They're not great, but they're okay. They can score on anyone, is what I'm really saying about Utah State. They can score on anyone. Oh, and then we end the night with Cal. Cal wins money line, but does not cover the spread. And covering the spread was hard. It was difficult. It was very difficult all week long. But North Carolina showed life in this game. North Carolina should have won the game. If we're being honest, they fumbled on the way into the end zone with about a minute left in the game. They had a fumble at the 2-inch line. So North Carolina should have won this game, but it's losses like this that'll break your program. It's losses like this that you look at a team and they just play so vanilla. They don't do anything exceptional. They will never be creative. I can't believe in North Carolina in any way. I'm just not there. They're still trying to figure out who's their starting running back. It was Demon June going in, and now Benjamin Hall gets all the carries. They're just doing whatever they want. They're just playing anybody. They're still having tryouts, man. They're still. Yeah, you ever seen a guy dating a girl, and he's not ready for marriage, and he's still dating other girls? He's still trying to figure out. He's at the club looking at all these other girls. Everyone walking by. Yeah, that's North Carolina, man. They don't even know who the fuck they want to use. They're still looking around. It's crazy. They're gross. On the other side, though, Cal looks very encouraging. Cal wins this game. They're 5-2 now, 2-1 in ACC. Their freshman quarterback sucks. He really does. He throws all over the place. He just misses everywhere. The wide receivers are not good. They had to go Temu shopping on wide receivers in the transfer portal. So you got Jacob DeJesus with 13 receptions. Not really. This guy's not running routes all day. He's slipping, falling, dropping a ball, complaining it's slippery, this, that. Like, he's just not it. They give it to him a lot, though, because they got nobody else. It's hard to get it to everybody else. You guys do know that Q Ron Adams, that's a transfer from the FCS. Kendrick Raphael played well. He looks good at running back, but these receivers ain't it. And where the fuck is where's the 6'6" kid? Grizzle for shizzle. Where's that dude? I don't know what they're doing. They're dropping passes everywhere. They're not it. This Raphael dude looked decent to me in the game. Even I don't care about his yards per carry. If you watch the tape and you watch him, he's got some burst to him. He gives them the best chance that they're going to have. So shout out to them. I trust Cal's defense. Cal's defense has always been good. Cade Ulave here is a monster. He's going to do what they got to do. And this is all coming down to North Carolina. I don't want to say it's luck, but they fumble early in the game. They fumble late in the game. And the fumble early led to that touchdown by Cal, and that's why Cal was winning 14-7 at the end of the first quarter. But you see teams like this, and I just start going, okay, well, why weren't you on the under? If Cal has a good defense and North Carolina can't possibly score, that's an underplay all day. Can't help you. Can't help you. All right, then we get to Saturday's games. I'm going to jump to the chat real quick. I hope there's not too many questions, and then we'll keep it moving. Shout out to you guys on TikTok. If you're watching, move over to YouTube and I'll answer your questions. I'll even respond and read it. I can't read it here while I'm doing the show. It doesn't stay on the screen, so I can't help you. Real quick. Oh, yeah, not much. Shout out to you guys. What up? It says you good on YouTube and TikTok. Thank you so much. Julio up in the house. What up, Julio? Says, what's up, Rico? And then the last one is just the first question for the show so far. Says, is Chris Bell related to David Bell, Brahms' old receiver at Purdue? Not that I know of. I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but what a great trivia question if it's true. Not that I know of. Okay? Sorry about that. Shout out to you guys. Not much questions so far. We haven't talked about Saturday's games. Saturday's games. First game, Ohio State and Wisconsin. First thing I told you guys in this game is I don't know how in the hell Wisconsin's scoring a point in this game. I had Ohio State winning by shutout. I had Ohio State covering the spread. I was not worried about this game at all. There's this quarterback, Hunter Simmons. He's a transfer from Southern Illinois. He shouldn't be starting any games anywhere. That's not an FBS quarterback. So Wisconsin's going to war with blanks in their gun. They're not ready for anything. Running back room. They're not using the freshmen anymore. They're not using the guys they believe in. They're using Gideon and Cade Yakimelli. These are not good players. These are not talented players. I won't buy it. I'm not on it. Nothing. I told you take Vinny Anthony's under receiving yards. It was at 40-something. He's the leading receiver. I don't care. Not taking him. His under, I hit on this joint. 100% right. There's nothing they can do. On the other side, Julian Sain throws a great touch pass. He has just the right touch. He knows when to, it's about throwing catchable balls. I talk about this all the time. There are some quarterbacks who are gunning everything. Absolutely everything. And there's no need for it. Sometimes you just need to throw something that takes some of the RPMs off. Throw something that the guy can catch. That's it. Touch passes matter, man. Just relax, chill, stay under control. You don't have to zip it every time. And it's a beautiful thing. Shout out to Julian saying he's playing great. Okay. Running back room. I told you it'd be difficult to run the ball. I was 100% right. I did not like Bo Jackson's ability to run the ball against this defense. Wisconsin is stout up front, and sure enough, 10 carries, 26 yards. You get stuffed all day long. Couldn't really run against the starting defense. Neither could Donald. So, but it doesn't matter, though. Ohio State's going to eventually just go throw the ball. Somebody's going to be open because they're all open, and that's what happened here. Keep believing in Ohio State. They're dependable. Wisconsin, fade the fuck out of them. They have the worst quarterback in the FBS. And I'm going to tell you that the teams you believe in have really good quarterback play, and the teams that aren't good, they have terrible quarterback play. It's all about the quarterback play at this point. Speak of the devil. Quarterback play. Aiden Childs did not throw a pick in this game. I thought he would. He did not, but there was no way Michigan State was going to stay up here. They did cover the spread. I had Michigan State covering the spread the other way, an alternate spread of plus 35.5. I got that right. Check out the alternate spreads chart. We hit it at 70% most of the time, so we're doing pretty good. Indiana's just really good. Fernando Mendoza's there. I told you guys Omar Cooper and Elijah Surratt were going to each score a touchdown. They did. I told you take both their over yards. We missed on Elijah Surratt's over yards. They were 86, and he was only at 70. It's tough. But all in all, Indiana, undefeated, 7-0. Looks like one of the best teams in the world. Definitely a top 5 team. And when you go look over here, no running back room. I've told you. Tal Tulliver should have stayed at Sacramento State. He's not an FBS caliber running back. I don't like this running back room at all. They have no talent in the running back room. There's a kid. They actually do. He's not playing right now. He's an incoming freshman. I think he's redshirting this year. Excuse me. Just spit on my mic. Good morning. Aiden Childs is still Aiden Childs, but he was very accurate in this game. Nick Marsh, good wide receiver. Amari Kelly, good wide receiver. Christian McCray. These are all good players. Not going to do anything out here. Not going to do anything out here to carry this game. Nah, not worried about it. Shout out to Indiana. Still looking sharp. Michigan State will never believe in you. Speaking of never believing you, Arkansas, what's up, man? So, Texas A&M gets it done. A little scary. Arkansas scores a late touchdown, makes it look close, and covers the spread. That's fine. I don't care. I'm on Texas A&M money line. I believe in them wholeheartedly. And Arkansas has the ability to score. Arkansas is going to score on everyone. What Arkansas did this offseason was fix their offensive line in the NIL. They can go out and get it done. They got one receiver that everybody believes in. Shout out to Omega Blake. Started his career at South Carolina, transferred to Charlotte last year, had a breakout season. Now he's here. He's a good player. Rohan Jones, tight end from Montana State, transferring in. These are good players. Raylan Sharp, Missouri State transfer from Fresno State. They all hit the transfer portal. Mike Washington, you've seen him. Buffalo, New Mexico State, now here. So this is a team built off of transfers. They're not built off of who they've evaluated and who they have developed from high school. Arkansas's team, you will see very few people that they developed and identified from high school. And that includes some of their leaders on defense. And I shouldn't say leaders on defense because it's just whoever's left. Like Brad Spence is amazing. Gone. And when you start losing players like that, it's going to be a problem. They lost Jaheim last year, gone. Like they just lose players that they need. And it's tough. You're not going to win games that way. You need to develop your defender. You need to develop your trenches, everything. And I don't think they have that luxury, unfortunately. Somebody's got to lose. They're losing. A&M, they're going to find ways to win. I had somebody tell me Marcel Reed's not elite. Well, he threw 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he just helped his team score 45 points. It's pretty elite. I'll take it. Shout out to him. Running back room is stacked. They got a lot of options. Reed, by the way, rushed for 55 yards and a touchdown there. Receivers, they got some players to make some plays, but they're not consistent enough for me. It's been a little frustrating. Shout out to A&M, though. Still like one of the best teams in America. Still keep scoring. Let's go. Speaking of best teams in America, there's Georgia. Georgia wins with a truck driver. Georgia was trailing in this game for the majority of the game, and then the wheels fall off of Ole Miss. Georgia comes out and scores 17 points in the fourth quarter. They even covered the spread. I was on Georgia, so I was happy, but there's some issues that Georgia there is. They can be scored on, and they had a tough time stopping a dual-threat quarterback. I think it's a very unique situation where you have Trinidad Chambers come in and just keep moving the chains. He played well, but when they really needed it, they needed to throw some passes, complete some passes, and get some first down. When they really need, Chambers didn't get it done. That's the reality. I'm sorry to say it. Some people are going to talk about he's not to blame. It's this, that. No. I'm just keeping it real. He had passes hitting the ground, 17 incompletions in this game. That's a lot of incompletions. 17. Stribling's out there fighting for every jump ball, doing what he can. Receivers are trying to get open. You got to make it happen. You got to. Shout out to the defense. They end up falling apart. You can't cover a tight end, bro. You can't cover Lucky motherfucking Lawson. Shout out to the truck driver, Gunnar Stockton. 4 touchdowns. Good enough for the girls I date. Gunnar Stockton, 5 incompletions the whole game. Why don't you compare that? 17 versus 5. Okay? Gunnar Stockton making smart decisions. Sure thing. Making it happen. Oh, by the way, he got a little juice to him running. Shout out to him. Nate Frazier. We had a Nate Frazier sighting. He scored a touchdown in his receptions. He caught one. But more importantly, he was able to be leaned upon as a running back. You guys know I'm a Nate Frazier guy. I've been on Nate Frazier for like 5 years or so. Shout out to him. So I'm proud of Georgia. Great team win. Got to figure it out. I need them to play a little better defense. Ole Miss should not fall out of the top 10. Not after that performance. They shouldn't fall out of the top 10. Probably will, but they shouldn't. I thought they were a good team. And Georgia reminds me of Nick Saban's last season or second to last season. Do you remember when they lost Bryce Young? They lost Bryce Young, and I told you guys, they just lost a Heisman Trophy quarterback. They lost all these players, and I'm like, they're going to fall apart. And they didn't fall apart because Nick Saban's Nick Saban. They didn't fall apart. That's how Georgia feels. Like Georgia lost pieces. They're not falling apart. They're going to keep winning. Kirby Smart's a good coach. They're prepared for these games, and they got a lot of talent. It's just young. It's just not developed. But Georgia's very good. I like Georgia a lot. Yep. Hey, Rico, I thought you hate Georgia. You're a hater on Georgia. Dude, don't confuse TikTok videos for the picks. Georgia's been a lock almost every week. Georgia's a known commodity. I trust them. Bro, I'm going to Burger King. I don't give a fuck what promotional thing they're selling. I want a double Whopper with cheese, bro. Georgia's a double Whopper with cheese. It's always going to be there. Flame broiled. It's always going to be delicious. I'm with it. Shout out to Burger King. Haven't been there in like 7 months. I'm eating very clean. I'm in the best shape of my life. I just ran my fastest 5K yesterday. Or no, 2 days ago. Broke my 5K record. A week before that, I broke my 5K record. I've just been grinding in the gym. Shout out to Kim. Got me eating clean. I'm on that movie star diet. Y'all got a 6-pack at 42 years old. Who you fucking with, bro? I'm amazing. Anyways, sorry. Had to go out. I was thinking about Burger King this morning. Oh, man, I wish. All right. Next game. Alabama and Tennessee dialed in on this one. I had Tennessee on an alt spread plus 17.5 all over the board. And I also told you Alabama's covering the spread. I believed in them. So shout out to Ty Simpson. I think he's probably one of the top 3 front runners for the Heisman. Ty Simpson, Fernando Mendoza, and whoever else you want to put out there. But Ty Simpson's playing well. He's got the best receivers in America. There is no running back on this team. That's the problem. There's no running back. Jam Miller did score a touchdown, but Jam Miller hasn't been healthy. They're bringing stuff, so they're getting creative with how they run the ball. They're using wide receivers. They're using end arounds. They're doing other things, or they're just dropping back to pass. It's tough. You're playing a good Tennessee defense. I get it. But there's nobody that I can really depend upon when it comes to a gambling perspective or even thinking of first downs, touchdowns, yards, anything like that. It's just not there. Alabama doesn't have that dominant running game that we're expecting. Receivers for days, though. Somebody's open. Somebody's open. And they got the quarterback to get it to him. So shout out to Ty Simpson, Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard. Good players, good team. And the defense is playing lights out, man. Defense is playing studly as hell. Joey Aguilar did the best he could. This is what Joey Aguilar is. This is who he is. It's not a bad thing. It's just where they're at. I'm still very, very proud of Tennessee for phasing Star Thomas out of the starting lineup. There was no reason for him to even be there. And now it's Deshaun Bishop's team. It's Deshaun Bishop's world, and you need to keep doing that because Deshaun Bishop is astronomically better than Star Thomas. If I had tryouts tomorrow, Deshaun Bishop looks better. He does. Star Thomas is slow. Star Thomas is a New Mexico State running back. That's what he is. He's a Conference USA running back, and they brought him to the SEC. And when you get SEC linemen in front of you, you might look competent and you might look good, but you're not good enough to win games. Don't forget that. It's the Seth McGowan thing. Ask Kentucky. They're going to tell me how good he is, but you're not winning games. Deshaun Bishop's good. Put up 123 yards on Alabama. He's good. Receivers, I wish Brazel was open more. I wish he would make it happen. It's unfortunate, and it's just you're up against a tough defense. I think this game was over at halftime. Unfortunately for Tennessee, you throw a pick six, it gets taken back 99 yards right before half. That will break you. That I don't know what you say in the locker room after that. One locker room is probably very boisterous and joyous and motivated, and the other one's just like it had to be a funeral up in that joint. Had to be. It's tough. Shout out to them. Texas Tech, Arizona State. Arizona State storms the field. They beat Texas Tech. This is a shame. This is tough. I moved this out of the locks column, I believe. I put it in the – and a lot of this I put it in the leans column. A lot of this had to do with Sam Levitt coming back. I knew Sam Levitt coming back gives them a fighting chance. He's going to throw to Jordan Tyson. They're going to get their 100 yards. They're going to do this. But that's not what this game was about. This game was actually about the defense for Arizona State. I'm serious. The defense at Arizona State, I've talked about it at length. Their linebackers are great, and they return their entire secondary. This is a very good defense. And when you hold a team like Texas Tech to 7 points going into the fourth quarter, that's real. That's because I've watched Texas Tech score points. I've watched Texas Tech do things. And these receivers are phenomenal. These receivers are hard to deal with, yet they were being stride for stride, run with you, giving no lanes to Will Hammond and the boys. And then when we look at Will Hammond, yes, he's a redshirt freshman starting quarterback. First start, blah, blah, blah. Stop all that. Will Hammond can throw the ball. He's a good quarterback. Why couldn't we run the ball? Why are we not running the ball? How is Will Hammond the leading rusher on this team? I just watched Cameron Dickey go for like 200 yards a week ago. You've got the best offensive line money can buy, and you don't go out there and try to impose your will and run the ball. That's a silly premise. I've told you guys this before. Arizona State did this the week before. Arizona State started Jeff Sims last week, and for whatever reason, they gave that guy the ball 49 times. 49 times. And they lost. And I said, why are you doing that? You have Raleek Brown. Just run him. You don't have to do that. You don't have Sam Levitt. You got out-coached. Well, what did Texas Tech do? Texas Tech gets Will Hammond in the game, his first time starting. You're in a huge game. You can rely on your run game a little bit. You can do things to alleviate the pressure on this kid. No, we're not doing that. We're going to let Will Hammond either throw it or run it over 50 times. Think about that for a second. You have a kid in the biggest game of his life, and you let him either throw it or run it over 50 times. Get the ball out of his hands to somebody else. Alleviate the pressure. But these coaches, they don't change their scheme based upon their personnel. They don't adjust because they want a system. When you have a coach who says, I have a system, and then you could plug and play players into their system. I'm talking about Western Kentucky. And I'm talking about Texas Tech. You put players in your system, you're a coach, and you think your system is why you're winning games. Your system is not why you're winning games. You're winning games because of the Jims and the Joes. You're winning games because of the players on the field and their talent. When you don't have those players, you can't run that same system. Having a system was a 90s football. In the 90s, you could be a system quarterback. You could plug and play anybody. Florida, you had an injured guy, Steve Spurrier just grabbed the next guy. They didn't give a fuck. It's the same offense. Danny Warfel, Rex Grossman, doesn't matter. It's the same offense. Texas Tech, for years. Every Texas Tech quarterback with Mike Leach, it was a system. The quarterbacks weren't that good. You just get in that system, aerate it, and your stats go through the roof. People will be like, man, I saw this guy, Bailey Zappi, throw 5,000 yards, 6,000 yards. Why is he not in the NFL throwing 6,500? It's the system. So what the NFL has learned is that when you get a specific player and you draft a player of a certain caliber, you got to build around that player. They don't need to conform to your system. You need to go out and get the weapons for that player. So Texas Tech, you get Will Hammond out there and you do the wrong thing. You try to force him to fit into your system that you've been running all year, whatever it is. I think that's silly. There's no way the ball should have been going 37 passes, 15 runs for Will Hammond. Is he a dual threat quarterback we don't know about? Did I miss that part of the huddle tape? Who the fuck you think you got back there, bro? You think that's Devin Dampier? That's absolutely silly that you take a backup quarterback and make him the focal point of the entire offense. Now all these star receivers, we can't get them the ball. How about you throw screens to these guys or give them end arounds and let them run a little bit? Look, we're letting guys run a little bit. What do you think Alabama was doing? What do you think Alabama was doing? How many different players were getting the ball, letting them run a little bit? Receivers. If we can't throw them the ball, they can't get open against the good DBs. Let's just let them run a little bit. Let's figure it out. You have to adjust, man. The lack of adjustments is disgusting. And this is happening at the collegiate level by a bunch of staffs. It's like if I'm watching Ohio Bobcats right now. The Ohio Bobcats have Parker Navarro at quarterback. And if he got injured, would you still run the same plays without Parker Navarro at quarterback? When Georgia Tech takes Haynes King out of the game and they bring in Aaron Philo, do they run the same plays? No. No. Fucking ridiculous. Oregon against Rutgers. I didn't talk about this in the early video. It's something that I was asked about during the live stream, and I was like, well, yeah, I believe in Oregon to cover the spread, or I'm sorry, to win the game money line. But I think Rutgers got a chance to cover the spread. Nah, Rutgers is gross. Rutgers is the worst, man. Ethan Kaliakmanis can't throw. I've told you this. I hate his mechanics. His ability to throw is terrible. Couldn't do anything in this game. Dante Moore got back to doing what he does, which is he's a can crusher. Dante Moore's a can crusher. Maybe even Oregon's a can crusher. But they out here doing what they want to do. Rutgers has no defense. The worst part about Rutgers, and everybody needs to remember this, is Rutgers is defensively very slow. We learned this week 1 or week 0, whatever it was, when they played Ohio. And Ohio scored 31 points on these guys. Rutgers I think they got outscored 28 points in the second half. Rutgers couldn't stop anybody. Say Bangor, Parker North, they couldn't stop them from catching the edges on the corner. There's just no speed on that Rutgers defense. Very slow. So you're going to see scores like this when you can't catch anyone. You're going to see 33 yards a carry. You're going to see longs of 68 and 67 yards. They can't catch anyone. They're slow. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. They're very slow. Next game, LSU Vanderbilt. First time in the world, Vanderbilt was favorite in an SEC game. I'm 42 years old. It never happened in my lifetime. They said it happened in the 70s. Cool. Shout out to Vanderbilt. They were the favorites. I did not pick them to win this game. I picked LSU. Shout out to my girl. I'm loyal to Kim. No, I'm loyal to LSU. I thought LSU had a chance. Now, going into the game, I get word, what is it, a couple hours before, that Whit Weeks is not healthy for the game. He's a scratch. He's doubtful for the game. He's not going to play. Starting middle linebacker, leader of the defense. At that point, I get a DM from an MVP. Hey, Rico, are you still on LSU? Their best defender's not there. You said their defense is great, and they're not going to have their best player. I tell you guys all the time, bro. I tell you guys all the time. I can remember the Lakers with Pau Gasol and Kobe Bryant. And the Lakers, during the regular season one time, I was watching a game, and I knew they were going to win the game. I was telling everybody, Lakers are going to win, Lakers are going to win. And then the game's about to start, and they go, yo, Kobe Bryant's not playing tonight. And I'm like, oh, my God. Kobe Bryant's not playing. Well, then how the fuck are they going to win? And they didn't win. And I went to work the next day, and everybody at work was like, you told me the Lakers are going to win. You were so wrong. Da, da, da. And I said, bro, if I give you an assessment and the whole assessment is about Kobe Bryant and he doesn't play, how the fuck can you think they're going to win? I don't change picks. I don't flip picks. That's not happening. I don't send out a mass email update and post and all that. We don't do that. Once the video is posted, we live with the results. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to live with the results. You can watch it and you can be like, man, Rico said that defense is going to lead the way, but it looks like they're not going to have their best player. Fuck. The guy with the green sticker on his helmet. I think I'm out. I'm going to sit this one out. We also have another rule on the platform, which is we never fade Diego Pavia. And here we are. Faded him. Got it wrong. Shout out to Diego. I think Diego for Heisman is real. Diego's so good, man. That's my third Heisman. I'm going to jump to the chat. I just saw a super chat show up. I appreciate you guys. I didn't know it was here. But shout out to Vanderbilt. One thing about Vanderbilt that people don't understand, they have some players. Trey Richardson here. Trey Richardson, Cedric Alexander. But Trey Richardson, really, he has enough speed to make a difference. They got some speed on certain skill players that you're not used to seeing at Vanderbilt. So just pay attention to that. I think they're good. They got a tough schedule. It's daunting, but 6-1, looking like they're ready to go to the playoffs and shit. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Shout out to them. LSU, fire your coach. Fire your coach. All right, let's go to the chat. Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for being here. We'll figure it out. So let me go hit interact so I can read what's going on in the chat here. Question from Matthew Westfall. He says, is Carnell Tate wide receiver 1 in the draft? So a lot of people don't know this, but you can't declare for the draft as a freshman or a sophomore. You have to be 3 years removed from high school. So all the people telling me Jeremiah Smith is the number 1 wide receiver, all this other stuff, he's not even eligible for the draft. Neither is Ryan Williams. So is Carnell Tate wide receiver 1 for the draft? I don't know who's going to be drafting. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know who you value and what you value. I like to take entire season's body of work before I make declarations for draft positions and how I rank players. But I think very highly of Carnell Tate. I think Carnell Tate's a very good wide receiver. I wouldn't have a problem if somebody put him number 1 for the draft. I like other receivers as well, so I would have to sit down and rack and stack them. Knee-jerk reaction is I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to pick the wrong person. So he could be. Just I'm not there. I'm not there right now. It's not like a clear-cut number 1 for me. That's not how it works for me. I think, isn't Mekhi Lemon, can he declare for the draft? It's very comparable. It's very comparable. A big stat guy at USC. Yeah, he's pretty good too. There's good players. We could talk about it, but it's what do you depend? Like you guys understand there's 3 different wide receiver positions. There's the X, the Y, and the Z. Right? So the X is the outside receiver on the line of scrimmage, big guy number 1. The Y is in the slot. And then the Z is the wide receiver that's usually off the ball, opposite of the X. So there's different positions. They're valued differently. Most receivers taken number one overall are going to be your X receivers. They're the guys who can lead a team, the Andre Johnsons of the world. Those are going to be a slot receiver would never be number one. But in my assessment, when I go out and evaluate talent and I get ready for the NFL draft, I don't give a fuck about what the NFL values. I look for players that I value, right? So there might be a slot receiver out there that I think's the bee's knees, and that could potentially be my number one, but it can be different from NFL teams. Everybody values different things. And then if you have a wide receiver one, you're not even looking at that guy because you don't need to draft him. You already have a guy in that position. So there's a lot of nuances to it, but shout out to Cardinal Tate. He's a very good wide receiver. Yeah. M Kid, what up, kid? He says, what are your thoughts on both teams to score props? Been raking it on them this season personally on FanDuel since I can't do player props in Virginia. Are you talking about like both teams to score? You talking about like overs? Or you're talking about their total points? Either way, yeah, I think it's incredible. If you have a good read on a team and say they're going to score, if you have a good read on an offense and a defense, that's going to lead you to the outcomes of games or team totals, over and unders, whether it be first quarter, second quarter, first half, or the game. Yeah, it's cool. Good, congratulations. I hope you're raking in. I try to get those right as much as possible. They're on the prop chart 100%. Do you see Diego Pavia's consistency the fourth quarter of this season? Do I see it? Do I see Diego Pavia's consistency in the fourth quarter of the season? I think he's good everywhere. I think he's good all game long. A couple things you're going to know about Diego Pavia. He's not going to be mentally rattled. He's going to get up even after a hard hit. His team's going to still believe in him. They all believe they got a chance. Like when a player throws an interception. When a player throws an interception, go look at the sideline. Are they all heartbroken, upset, frustrated? Do the wide receivers throw their arms in the air? Are they mad? Are they hurt? Are they going to the backup quarterback going, bro, I know you wouldn't do that. I know you wouldn't do that. Hey, you got us, man. Coach is sleeping on you, man. You should be out there. Like, you've seen those guys. You've seen those teams where when something goes wrong, there's a dude on the sideline, like, man, that wouldn't have happened to me. They wouldn't have got that first down on me. You've seen this before. It's dysfunction on a team. It's a team being fractured. That's not Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt believes in their quarterback, and everybody's got his back. And if he makes a bad pass, they just look around and go, all right, let's keep it moving. That's a good thing to have. That's a healthy thing to have. Camaraderie matters. I think he galvanizes that team. I think he puts it all together, strengthens them. So I'm a big Diego Pavia believer for many years. You can't get me off that. I've known about Diego Pavia before any of these dudes on TV. I was singing his praises before they ever knew who the fuck he was. Never forget that. And this was before the 10-win season. So I've been driving Diego's hype train for 3 years. These are all new fans. And I'm not here to gatekeep on it or anything. I just don't get down with them. I don't get down with people who are like, oh, yeah, man, hey, Rico, tell me about so-and-so. I get comments all the time from SEC fans. Tell me about so-and-so, Rico. Tell me about so-and-so. It's like, I did tell you about him 3 years ago when he was signing out of high school with a group of 5 team. And you ignored it because you said that's trash football. Yeah, that's what you guys did. And here we are. Retro KG, thank you for the super chat. He says, Florida State is that girl that's for the streets. Maybe, but I think Florida State's worse than that. Because the girl that's for the streets is good looking. She's not fooling anybody. She's very good looking. She just makes poor decisions. That's why everybody gets to sleep with her. That's why she's for the streets. Florida State is that girl in the club that you thought was pretty, but the lights come on. And when the lights come on at the end of the night, and they're like, yo, last call for alcohol. When the lights come on and you look and you go, oh, shit. It was dark in this joint. You ain't pretty at all. That's Florida State. Florida State's the girl that you've been grinding on going, damn. I think I'm going to go home. Oh, I've been there, bro. I've been there. Man, I spent a lot of nights in nightclubs. A lot. I used to go to nightclubs 5 days a week. I'm not exaggerating. Shout out to El Paso. There was a club open every single day of the week. I took 2 days off. I was active duty Army, platoon sergeant, busy. Didn't care. I still found time to go to the club because I loved to dance. And I remember going home with a girl. And we got to her place because I didn't want her to know where I lived. Got to her place, and I was like, I know this is about to smell awful. that's what I thought to myself. I know this is about to smell awful. I'm going to stay in it to win it, man. I know this is going to smell awful. And nope, didn't have it in me. I straight up walked out. I got dressed. I said, this can't happen. And I walked out. And the girl was so embarrassed. And we were at the nightclub the following week. And she's with her friends. And I know she's whispering like, oh my God, yeah, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. Bruh, I was over there just like, nope, none of them. I ain't kicking it with none of them. That's a true story. Shout out to Florida State. You're gross. Florida State, you're gross. Stay out this joint. TikTok, if you're watching, you want to talk and put a comment in or a question, just move over to YouTube, drop it in. I will answer you. I will get back to you. For sure. Roll Tide Roll. Shout out to Lewis Henton, one of the most OG day one followers of the channel. Lewis Henton has been here through thick and thin. And Lewis is Alabama fan. One of the few Alabama fans to rock with me. The SEC fans all think I hate them. I don't hate them. I just am not fooled by what the propaganda machine of ESPN did to a generation. That's all it is. They're good players. There's good teams. There's good coaches. And there's good fans. Shout out to Lewis. Never fade Diego. Shout out to you, coaches. Coaches knows. Even if it looks like you should fade him, don't fade him. Don't do it. Rico, great assessment on Georgia Southern. Cashed that last night. Thanks. Yeah, I'm going to get to it, Boy Drum. Shout out to you. Thank you so much. If you guys weren't aware, I have been 100% right that Georgia Southern is better than Georgia State. I don't care what happens. I don't care what odds say. It's a lock for me. And when people say, what's your most confident locks? That's what I'm talking about right there. That I have talked about this for months. But if you don't follow the channel and you don't watch all the content, you don't know how I feel about Georgia Southern versus Georgia State. I have brought it up multiple times in videos all day long. So when they finally play each other, I can't stress it enough that I really like Georgia Southern. So much so that I made it a lock. And nobody's going to make Georgia Southern a lock. They've been hot or cold from one. I don't care. I know how bad Georgia State is. And then they're losing at some point during the game. And I'm getting DMs. Oh, my God, I can't believe I believed in Georgia Southern. These bum-ass dudes. Rico's ice cold. He's a brick. He's this. He's a square. He's this. Shut up. Don't say shit to me. I do this for a living. Shout out to you. I appreciate you, Boy Drum. Thank you so much. I saw Diego versus UTEP. He's a beast. There you go, Julio. Hey, shout out to you, man. Next one was, is Nick Marsh going to leave Michigan State? So I don't know players' intentions, but I'd imagine if you're on a losing team, you would theoretically want to be on a winning team. There's a chance that every team can leave, every player can leave every team, especially if you're getting paid more. So I don't know if he's leaving. I haven't talked to him. I can't answer that. Thoughts on the Irish? Is Carr good enough to get it done with the two-headed beast they have in the backfield? So, Tori Moore, I don't know what you mean by get it done. Get it done. What does that even mean? Let's talk about it. Carr played terrible yesterday. And I say that because I watched a play where he scrambled around, extended the play, and then just threw the most ill-advised interception in the world. And that was just one play. It's just one rep. It's just one rep, Rico. No. You're surrounded by the best offensive line you could hope for, essentially. The best running backs in football. Some of the best wide receivers out there. You're the worst player on the field. Notre Dame's worst player on the field is their quarterback, and he touches the ball every single play. That is a problem. But is he terrible? No, he's just young. So then I ask you, how many freshman quarterbacks have won a national title before? And who were they? And were they the reason their teams were winning the national title? Were they the Johnny Manziels and the Jameis Winstons? And when you think about it from that perspective, Carr doesn't have to do those things. He's not that guy. He's not there. He's not the reason they're winning. So that's not a good way to go about this. Another thing is so many fan bases are national championship or bust. Like, if you don't win the national title, you're a terrible team and we need to fire you. I just said fire Brian Kelly. They are 5-2 and they're ranked 10th in the country. They just lost to another ranked team with a guy that we believe is a superhero. Is it hyperbole? And if you don't know what hyperbole means, that means it's exaggeration. You're being dramatic. You're saying stuff like, I'm starving. You ever seen somebody go, I'm starving? You're not fucking starving, bro. You need to meet someone who's starving. And then you'll never say, I'm starving again. Say you're hungry. You're not starving. I could literally eat you right now. No, you couldn't. That's hyperbole. You guys say some shit that just doesn't make sense. So everybody is talking crazy when it comes to Notre Dame. Is Notre Dame built to win a national title? Maybe. But they also lost 2 games to 2 of the top 5, 10 teams in the country. They lost by a couple points. They're getting better, Rico. They're getting better every single week. Okay, cool. So only one team's winning the national title. Did everybody else have a bad season? Like, Louisville isn't ranked right now. Do you think they're having a bad season? They're not even ranked. Do you think they're sitting around moping around? Oh, my God, we're having a bad season. No. There's different levels to this right now. How ecstatic is UCLA right now with 3 wins in a row? How ecstatic are they? The fan base, the players, going to that locker room. They won 3 games in a row. Yelling, screaming, celebrating. I think everybody needs to keep things in perspective. Notre Dame, if they qualify for the playoffs, they had an amazing season. And that goes for Penn State, Indiana, SMU last year. Do you know what that felt like for SMU to make it to, but you lose in the first round? Who gives a fuck? There's 120 other teams that didn't make it. You think they're disappointed? Try Ole Miss and Georgia, or Ole Miss and fucking whoever. Excuse me for not thinking. I'm right now, I'm thinking about Texas. You want to ask about a quarterback who might not be good enough to win big games. Let's talk about Texas, not Notre Dame. Notre Dame's doing fine. I think they're achieving everything they should. I think they're just as good as anybody expects them to be. Yeah. They got a young quarterback. That's it. They got a young quarterback. It's going to take some time. Hopefully he doesn't throw those stupid-ass interceptions again. That's it. Shout out to you guys. Let me get back to the results here, and then we'll get back to the chat. You guys can let the chat load up, throw in your questions, your comments. I will get back to you guys, I promise. Let's just keep talking. Cover every game up in this joint. Next game, Georgia Tech and Duke. I told you Duke is very strong up front, and they were. Duke was stout. Duke outgained Georgia Tech something fierce. Way more yards, way better team, and still lost this joint. Georgia Tech comes out, scores 17 points in the fourth quarter, pulls away at the end, and it's just silly mistakes by Duke. I think Duke sold in this game so hard. So hard. They have everything going for them. Couple things I saw wrong from Duke. Number one, stop playing Anderson Castle. Anderson Castle, running back white guy from App State last year. God, he sucks. Just doesn't get enough. He averaged less than 3 yards a carry. He doesn't get what you need. He doesn't have the burst. You can see a noticeable difference when Nate Shepard's running the ball. So there's that. Nobody can stop Cooper. Shout out to the Harvard man. Cooper Barkate is a beast, and he's always open. Georgia Tech's defense is bad. They really are. They held them to 18 points, but that's just Duke underachieving. And now this is 2 games in a row. Not 2 games in a row, but 2 games this season where I've looked at Duke and I thought, no, it's 3 games. All 3 of their losses. They were probably the better team. When they lost to Illinois, they were dominating up front, and then they fell apart in the second half. When they lost to Tulane, they were a better team. They didn't win. And here they lose. And I still think they're a better team. It might be Manny Diaz not preparing this team to win. And that's going to get you fired. Because they are spending money on this football team. They did spend money in NIL. They did go out and get players. So to see them, like, you go out and get a quarterback who can throw for 373 yards against the number 12 team in the country, and you don't win. And Georgia Tech, on the other hand, all their players These are homegrown kids. These are kids from Georgia. I look at them and I'm like, oh, I remember that guy. I know where he played. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying I knew Georgia high school football like the back of my hand. So I'll be looking at dudes and going, oh, look, that's Grayson right there. Hey, that's Buford right there. Jordan Allen, what a beast. Bailey Stockton, Prince Avenue Christian. Like, I know Georgia football, and I know these players. They're doing it well. They're doing it right. They're evaluating players correctly. The problem is their defense is just bad. Bad. Shout out to Fitzgerald. Like, I could sit here and name every kid's high school team because I know Georgia high school football, which means I have a really good grasp on who this team is. Their defense is bad. Offense, they can run. Glad they got it done, I guess, but I was on Duke. Notre Dame beats USC. USC, silly, did a trick play towards the end of the game, and I think it was Lemon who was supposed to throw a pass, and then he didn't. Then he fumbled. Oh, my God. The game was over at that point. Shout out to them. But Maeva can still score. He can move the ball. It's really unique the way King Miller has taken over this running back room. It's something I didn't see coming. Nobody ever saw it, right? Former walk-on. That's weird, but you got it. I don't think you can be a serious contender against elite teams when your running back room is being led by a walk-on. Let me make that very clear. There are feel-good stories about walk-ons earning their scholarship. They're really good. They're playing well. They might even have a good game. If a walk-on is your starting running back, that means you as a coaching staff missed on about 5 or 6 other recruits. Scholarship recruits. That's the way you have to look at it. You evaluated 5 or 6 other people to be better, and they weren't. So then you missed. And now your team is being led by a guy who shouldn't be leading you. So anytime I see a starting player who's a former walk-on, all I think about is whoever's leading that position group has no fucking earthly clue how to evaluate players or develop them. That's what I think about. This is why USC goes into the season with their starting running back, a JUCO transfer. Is he good? Yep, he's pretty good. But why are you missing so hard that you're relying on JUCO and walk-ons to lead your running back room? I need an actual answer. It's not a rhetorical question. It's not a rhetorical question. And let me make this very clear. People, I just saw it right here. This kid Preston just writes, their running back 1 and RB2 was hurt. I know. I'm very aware. There's nothing I don't know about this team. Like, what are we doing? I'm telling you that their RB3 and 4 and 5 and 6 should be better than a walk-on. And that's why you'll see 18 carries for 3.9 yards. It's tough. It's tough to be competitive with elite teams when you're not moving the ball like that. Receivers are great. This is their identity. This is who they are. They're going to be able to throw the ball and be competitive, but you're going to fall apart and not be – you can't be competitive with a team like Notre Dame. Jeremiah Love showed you what happened here. Jeremiah Love rushes for over 200 yards in this game, almost 10 yards a carry. That's crazy because USC was supposed to address their defense. They're supposed to have a better defensive line and a better linebacker room. All I keep hearing about is Gentry's this, Gentry's that, and he's now this, and I don't want to hear about any USC defenders. I don't want to hear a fucking word about these guys. You let a guy, you know he's the offense, and you let him get 228 yards on 24 carries. That's 9.5 yards a carry. That is embarrassing you. That's a first down every time he touched the ball, and he touched the ball 24 fucking times. Embarrassing. Crazy. You paid all that money for them defenders. 1 sack all night. 1 sack all night. Not it, bro. Not it. And the trick plays ain't doing me no good. Line up and beat a team, man. Line up and beat them. Like Oklahoma. Oklahoma lines up against South Carolina. I've told you guys this, and this was a lock for me. I just believe in Oklahoma. Now, it's a lock for me. Might not be a lock for you, but when I look at this, here, let me pull up the chart and show you. I don't care. Rico, it's an SEC matchup. It's going to be a close game. It's right here, Oklahoma. And of all the games being played, don't worry about this shit over here. Don't worry about, no. Of all the games being played, it is my 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth favorite play. They're in confidence order right here. My fifth favorite money line in the Power 4 is Oklahoma to beat South Carolina at minus 200. And I say I would bet that straight across. I put 100 out to get $50 back. I would pay 100 to win 150. I don't give a fuck. Like, that's how good I feel about it. I'm not worried about an ROI like you are. $50 ROI, a 50% ROI is better than any investment out there. It really is. But you don't look at it that way. You guys don't know how to fucking gamble. You're embarrassing yourself. That's my slam dunk pick right there. Look at this. All these. Slam dunk for me. I believe Oklahoma has no chance of losing this game. Hence me putting it down there. Right here. Oklahoma. How many bets I got on these other games? The only one I got is Oklahoma, South Carolina. This is Army Tulane, Toledo, UMass. But for that specific game, I'm on Oklahoma. I'm on Oklahoma. Team total over 23.5. I don't know what else I can do. Why am I on Oklahoma? They got grown men in the trenches. Grown men in the trenches. I believe in their defense and their ability to stop plays. I also know that South Carolina is terrible. South Carolina, don't want to hear about Lenora Sellers being an NFL quarterback. I don't want to hear it. If you think Lenora Sellers is an NFL quarterback, you're an Anthony Richardson fan. That's what you are. You guys make believe this guy's playing good football. He's not. The offensive line is terrible, yes. But I don't think just because they get any better, he's going to play any better. His decision-making looks terrible. His throws are just, I don't know what it is. This offense is gross. Shane Beamer needs to be fired and sent to Virginia Tech. Go replace your dad, bro. Get the fuck out of here. You already fired your offensive line coach. This is nuts. Yeah. South Carolina, I told you guys before the season they're going to win 5 games this year, and this isn't one of them. Nope, and nope some more. Shout out to them. I wish they would get the ball to Deion Burks a little more. That's all. BYU, Utah had to choose this coin flip game. I said, let's take BYU. The game was not this close. Utah scored a junk touchdown towards the end. That doesn't really matter. BYU, for whatever reason, they couldn't tackle Bear Bachmeier. He's a damn train. Shout out to him. Bear Bachmeier can't get tackled. He did great. I told you LJ Martin was going to score a touchdown in this game. He didn't. That's the only thing I missed on this game. LJ Martin, 26 carries, 122 yards, no touchdown. But I had a Bear Bachmeier touchdown for a plus 110. It was on the chart. You should have believed in it. Ended your night by doubling your money. Like, that's real because Bear Bachmeier is going to do it, and he did. He also has stud wide receivers. Nobody can catch. Parker Kingston is so fast. It's crazy. Oh, by the way, if you can't throw the players the ball, get creative and hand it off to them. I've already said this. Great stuff. Awesome. But, shout out to Utah. Utah. I've talked about it for how many weeks now? How many weeks have I taken a chance to tell you guys Daniel Bray, the backup running back at Utah, is special? There are 2 people at Utah I really like, and they're backups. It is Bird Ficklin, the backup quarterback, freshman dual threat quarterback. I said, hey, I really like Utah's freshman dual threat quarterback. Everybody attacked me. You're a fucking idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. Devin Dampier's not a freshman. Devin Dampier he was at New Mexico. You idiots. I know who the fuck Devin Dampier. I told you about Devin Dampier before you knew who he was. I'm talking about Bird Ficklin. But now, the running back room gets taken over by Daniel Bray. Daniel Bray. I've been talking about him for 3 weeks ever since I first saw him. I've never stopped talking about Daniel Bray. I say, that guy comes in junk time. That guy looks really nice. Enough looking nice took over the room. Shout out to them. Took over the room. I'm so proud of him. Shout out to Daniel Bray. Only wide receiver you can believe in at Utah, little Ryan Davis, number 9, white boy in the slot. He bad. If he didn't have the knee injuries, He'd be Wes Welker. He'd be in the NFL. He'd be on that trajectory. People would be talking about him. Unfortunately, he had some really bad knee injuries. He's from UAB to New Mexico to here. So, known about Ryan Davis for years. Looks great. As long as he's healthy, he can play. Shout out to him. But BYU wins this game. BYU running the ball, stout defense. BYU 7-0. This might be one of the worst 7-0 teams in America. This might be one of the worst top 15 teams in America. But what can you do? They're here. They're 15. They're 15th in the country, 7-0, doing it again. And I don't know. They're not good, but they ain't bad. It's crazy. Shout out to them. I do have a question in the chat. Let me get over to it. Appreciate you guys. Let's go. Question is, and I quote, can't believe Tennessee gave that game away. That's not a question. My bad. Can't believe Tennessee gave that game away. Well, Tennessee didn't really give the game away. Tennessee was never really in the game. Tennessee was losing at halftime by a significant margin. So I don't know when you think they gave the game away. Are you just talking about that one play before halftime? Maybe. Dave in Arizona says, good morning, Rico. What are your thoughts currently on Arizona defensive backs? Did they earn a 9 rating? Shout out to the sausage makers of the world. Shout out to my boy, Dave in Arizona. So he's talking about my evaluation of the Arizona defensive backs. I think they're very good. I'm going to get to all the unranked teams here in a little bit. I think Arizona, for whatever reason, their DBs play really well. And I don't know if they earned that 9 rating. I'm very hesitant to give out improved ratings outside of, and I want to make this very clear, distinct statistical numbers during the season. So, like, I evaluate all the players. If you guys don't know what he's talking about, Dave in Arizona, very loyal MVP. He watches all the videos. I evaluate all the players in the offseason, and I give a rating based upon their position group. And that helps me assess whether or not a team is going to win and beat another team and stuff like that. Helps me learn the rosters a lot and just know what the teams are doing. And when you look at a team like Arizona, or any team really, I will evaluate you and give you a score. The score is going to be somewhere between 1 and 10. It can be fractions, so it can be like a 7.25, 7.5, 7.75, that kind of stuff. You can get decimal points with it. And I have a bunch of factors that go into it. It's like a formula. Some MVPs have seen the chart. I don't want to pull it up right now. But the point I'm trying to make is there will be times I give an evaluation. What can impact the evaluation score? Injuries, coaches benching and starting players, and then unknown commodities. And I'm talking about incoming freshmen who show up on the scene, burst into the scene, they play great. That can impact the score of a position group for a particular team. So those are the big 3. There's another one during the season, which is like, if you're the nation's leading rusher, like Cam, right? Cam Cook, nation's leading rusher at Jacksonville State. They're going to use him all the time. That gets weighted differently from somebody else. So I might have gave a running back room or a wide receiver room a 10. And then you go and watch the film or you watch how they perform, and they're not using those wide receivers. So there's no point for them to be a 10 because they're not using them. So when I do a comparison, I'm looking at this final number. I'm like, how is that number so high? And then I go and look. It's like, oh, they're all talented, but they're not using them right. I'll give you an example. Auburn, when you evaluate them on paper, those are one of the best teams in America. But when you watch them on film, it's terrible. Wide receivers, I gave Auburn wide receivers a fucking perfect score of a 10 in the preseason. And then you watch the games, and they're all dropping passes. Nobody can get open. There's only one guy you can rely on, and they got a quarterback that can only throw to Singleton and nobody else. So now we got to change that number because it's not equivalent to what Alabama's doing with their 10 or Ohio State's doing with their 10. So I'm giving out 10s for certain position groups or 9.5 or 9.25, and then the team isn't being used that way. A great example is Clemson. No matter what I do, Clemson and Texas evaluate as the 2 best teams in America. And the reason for that is they probably have the most NFL talent on the roster. Doesn't impact the results on the field. Doesn't mean they're winning any games. But individually, those players will be drafted. And this is what's the problem with doing talent evaluations versus results, coaches, decisions, right? That's why coaches really matter, because they make some terrible decisions. But it really reminds me of LSU. LSU, if you go back and study LSU results let's just start from 2005 to now, and you study the results, you will notice that they have always had NFL caliber players on that team. Always. always NFL caliber players, draft picks, good. It could be Fournette. It could be just a number of players out there. And then you see the results on the field, and it has not always been good. Despite having the NFL talent, the results aren't good. That's Kentucky the last 2 years. Deion Walker and Maxwell Harrison. Like they had guys that would get drafted, and they still ain't winning games. So having NFL talent in position groups matters. It's good. But the real thing is watch the film, do the assessment, and then readjust and reevaluate. Those are what I spend on my Sundays and Mondays for, right? Like today I'm doing this results show, and then I will spend the rest of the day watching film, catching up on some of the games that are recorded on ESPN Plus and YouTube, and then I'll do the early video later tonight. And then Monday, I sit down, I go over the box scores again, and I go over any highlights or films I got to watch, because I watch as many games as possible on Saturday. But throughout the week, I rewatch the games and I readjust the points and the scales based upon what I see. But what you won't see is an increase in scores on some of the defensive position groups, because it's a totality of everybody in the position group. Because on defense, they play everybody. Like if you go in here and you look, how many quarterbacks played in this game? 1. How many running backs played? Probably 2. Receivers, 5. Tight end. So it's really 4 and a tight end. But defensively, everybody plays. It's not just 11 guys. Everybody's rotating in. Everybody's getting a piece. So now you have to evaluate it differently. It's collectively. You have to evaluate the depth of the position groups. Because when they rotate, sometimes these defensive linemen, they'll play one whole series. And then you won't see that guy again for another. Like he's not going to be in the next series. So when you see a team moving down to score, it's because they're doing it on the backups. But the starters can't be out there because they're worthless. They're exhausted. So you got to evaluate the whole depth of the group. So no, Arizona's not going to move up to 9, but they're playing very well. Sorry for that long drawn out answer. Shout out to you. Julio says, Rico, in your opinion, which is the worst top 10 seeded team? For me, it's Georgia Tech. So Georgia Tech's not in the top 10? Or are they in the top? I haven't seen the polls today. Polls will come out later today. I don't know who's in the top 10, but if Georgia Tech's in the top 10, yeah, they're probably the worst team in the top 10. Let me be clear. No team in the top 10 sucks. The hyperbole shit is crazy. I told you this. I can't stand it. There are 40 good college football teams. 40. There are teams that aren't ranked, like Louisville, right? There are teams that aren't ranked that are very good, and you can lose to them. Washington. These are good teams. People will say shit like, they haven't played anybody. That's my favorite one. They haven't played anybody. Who hasn't played anybody? Indiana. They haven't played anybody. They played Oregon, and Oregon went to overtime with Penn State, so they're not even that good. Indiana's played nobody. And I'm just sitting there going, what the fuck are you talking about? They beat Illinois by 50. Illinois is not any good. You guys don't even know football at that point. Now you just think there's only 5 good teams. They haven't played anybody. Nobody in the top 5's played anybody. They're all undefeated. All the undefeated teams haven't played anybody because they're undefeated. Because the only teams that are somebody are who they've beaten. Or who hasn't been beaten. It's just silly. Absolutely silly. Silly shit I just read right now. LSU panic button. He just wrote. The 10th ranked team in the country, 5-2 overall, and he's asking the panic button. What would you give to be a 10th ranked? That's just silly. It's fucking dumb. Embarrassing. I can't even talk to you guys. Oh, I can't talk to you guys. TikTok, if you got a question, a comment, I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to interact with you. Go to YouTube, drop it in the chat. We will get to you when we can. Missouri against Auburn. I told you, this is my favorite underdog of the week. I can't prove it any more than I already did. It's on the chart. It's highlighted in purple. It's in the leans column. It's the only plus you see in the leans column. Any underdogs I like, I put them over here in the coin flips. I've never put one over here. I put Missouri over here. I believed in Missouri to cover the spread. It's over here. How many pluses you see in this column? 1, 2, 3. I got 2 out of those 3 right. I like the LSU a lot. I like the LSU a lot. This is right here, bro. Unreal. I'm looking for LSU. Where's LSU? I didn't pick LSU. Am I tripping right now? Oh, there it is. LSU Vanderbilt. So Missouri had them winning the game. Very scary game. Went into double overtime. Managed to win because Auburn is bad. We had missed field goals in overtime by both teams. That's nuts. Bo Pribula, he's playing decent. I wouldn't say he's playing good. I wouldn't. He's playing decent, not good. 2 interceptions, no touchdowns, but it's just, I don't even know if it's his fault. These guys couldn't run the ball. They were struggling. They were getting stuffed. Ahmed Hardy, 24 carries, 58 yards. It's crazy. They're just in there just bullying this man. The offensive line was just overwhelmed in this game. I like this Olabod dude. I talked about Donovan Olagbod before the season started. I told you there was a freshman wide receiver at Missouri that looked amazing. I know I talked about it on Twitter. Shout out to those of you who follow the Twitter. What a phenomenal job he is for showing up. Coleman's here. Everybody can make plays. They just got to keep fighting. Games aren't going to be easy in the SEC. They were underdogs in this game. I didn't understand that. They found a way to win. Auburn's undisciplined. You want to hit a panic button? Hit a panic button on 0-4 in the SEC Auburn. You spent money on the roster. You got players you believe in, and you're not getting it done. Yeah. Shout out to them. They'll have stats. It'll look good in a box score. Not on the field. Defense sucks. Offense is worse. Ugh. Washington State. What a couple of weeks now by Washington State. 2 weeks in a row, Washington State has almost knocked off nationally ranked teams. Almost doesn't cut it. I will tell you this. Zeviakos plays good football. Yes, he threw 2 interceptions in this game. Yes, they eventually lost. They don't have anybody really that talented on this team. They don't have anybody really that good. They got Zeviakos. That guy I believe in. Shout out to him. He's a baller. He's a little Diego Pavia-ish. Shout out to him. Brantley transfer, I believe, from last year, right? From 2 years ago. Is that it? Bryant. What the fuck I say Brantley? Bryant. On the other side, Virginia, sleepwalking. I don't know if they could have played any better. They didn't look good. My boy Jamal Edrin played out of his mind. 5 catches, 102 yards. You guys know I've been a Jamal Edrin guy for 3 years. Been talking about him. Glad he got it done. Jamari Taylor running the ball, stuffed all fucking day. Shout out to him. Harrison Whaley scores a touchdown. Please play Harrison Whaley more. I think he's the best running back on the team. And Chandler Morris did not throw any touchdowns, and that was a little crazy, but he did run the ball. Whaley fumbles, but got it back. They're okay. It is what it is. Virginia finds a way to win. 6-1 Virginia, by the way. They haven't played anybody. They're not any good. They're 6-1, bro. Shut up. South Florida beats FAU. I told you I didn't understand this over-under the way they had it. I didn't understand why the spread was this close. I thought South Florida was going to absolutely stomp these dudes. I picked South Florida by I picked them to cover the spread. It was a lock. I believe in South Florida all day. Byron Brown's going to run all over these dudes. They got no linebackers. Byron Brown rushes for 100 yards. Davenport rushes for 71 yards. Like, they just do whatever the hell they want to do. Caden Velkamp is a good quarterback. They're in a good system. Kitley's going to have you out there throwing. Got it. Threw 50 times. 1 touchdown. Threw 50 times. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. You can't do that stuff. Out here doing what they want to do, bro. Shout out to them. FAU can move the ball on anybody. They can throw a little bit. They weren't going to keep up in this game. Texas against Kentucky. The fuck is Texas doing, man? Texas should have won this game a lot to a little, but Texas has no semblance of offense whatsoever. Arch Manning completed 12 passes in this game. 12 passes for 132 yards. This is embarrassing numbers when you have an advantage in your wide receiver room. Cutter Boley looked better. If I'm being honest, Cutter Boley threw 1 interception in the game, but Cutter Boley looked better than Arch Manning. I think Cutter Boley could go to Texas and start over Arch Manning. Anybody could go to Texas and start over Arch Manning. They probably won't let you because they're paying that man millions of dollars, but they needed the transfer portal and get a real quarterback because they don't have one. Arch Manning is gross. Arch Manning is the problem here. And he's going to derail a team that, oh, by the way, LSU has the same record as Texas. Is anybody saying Texas should hit the panic button? LSU is ranked 11 spots ahead of Texas. Is anybody saying Texas should hit the panic button? Nobody's saying that. Even if they were to lose, no one's saying that. Why the fuck you saying that at LSU? Bum-ass fans. Kentucky can't throw, or excuse me, they were able to throw in this game, but you can't trust them to throw to win a game. That's not happening. Can't run the ball. Seth McGowan sucks. I've told you this. 45 yards rushing, not even 50 yards rushing. That guy's not real. If that's your starting running back, you're going to have a long season. You're 0-4 in the SEC. By the way, I'm quoting myself from my video on TikTok that everybody tags me in and sends to me all the time when they're like, Seth McGowan's really good. You know what you're talking about? No, I do know what I'm talking about. He's starting over your players, meaning you guys are gross. You evaluated talent incorrectly. Your team sucks. Wide receivers, we got to get Evan Mosley the ball more. Where the fuck is Parker? Livingston? Not even out here. I don't know. I can't do it for him, bro. I can't do it for him. Texas wins the game, and it was gross. Speaking of gross, the hardest thing to do in football, fade Memphis. Memphis, Brendan Lewis is hurt in this game, or Brendan Lewis isn't in, and they bring in A.J. Hill. A.J. Hill, freshman, true freshman. Shout out to him from Houston County, spelled Houston, but Houston County here in Georgia. I've been in A.J. Hill for 3 years. I'm all over A.J. Hill. I think he's great. I don't think you bring him out in this game and throw 25 times, though. That's silly. Why are we throwing so much? You can run the ball. Greg DeRosa is going to get 6 yards of carry. Run the fucking ball. What are you doing? So that part bothers me. Shout out to A.J. Hill. Coming in, playing the best you can, but they should not have been doing this. Throwing all over the place. That's not real. Run the ball. Protect the kid. Welcome him to college football. But you don't do this shit. And then UAB, they go and start Ryder Burton. UAB fires Trent Dilfer, and they start Ryder Burton at quarterback. If you don't know Ryder Burton, this is a kid who was an Elite 11 quarterback coming out of high school. He played in Utah, signed with BYU out of high school, got no burn at BYU, transferred to West Virginia. Then with the coaching change at West Virginia, he transfers out of there, and now he's here at UAB. So you go play for a quarterback in Trent Dilfer. Trent Dilfer doesn't start you. He doesn't play you. So I got word from like a journalist from UAB. It's this girl. She wrote to me, and she was like, hey, Rico, just so you know, the coaches at UAB went back and watched Ryder Burton's high school tape. And they started trying to evaluate how they could make him a better quarterback for them. I say, what? They adjusted their system? They adjusted their system to fit the quarterback? And they let this guy play instead of the Kitna, the playground watcher? Instead of the playground watcher, they played Ryder Burton. And what did he do? He played out of his mind. Played great. Solomon Beebe ran well. Javon Jackson still runs pretty decent, not great. And then you have a guy that can't be cooked in Iverson Hooks. Can't be cooked, can't be covered. Shout out to these dudes. Did their job. Shocked the world. Beat Memphis. Beat an undefeated team. Who could have predicted it? Nobody. So leave me the fuck alone. Rico, you missed. Yeah, me and everybody else. UAB's defense has looked porous, terrible all season. It's life, bro. Misses happen. The most inconsistent people in the world. A college kid. Fuck out of here, bro. Oh, I can't stand it. Shout out to them. Next game. Easiest call of the week for me, for sure. Shout out to Cincinnati. Covering the spread. No sweat. Easy. They can beat Oklahoma State. Cincinnati's great in the trenches. They're great up front. Sorsby does what he wants. 20 for 29, 3 touchdowns. Didn't even have to play a lot of they were resting, relaxing, having a good time. On the other side, Oklahoma State still playing Sam Jackson, the wide receiver at quarterback. They did manage to run the ball pretty well. Rodney Fields ran everywhere, 21 carries, 163 yards, and a touchdown. So they found some an offensive identity they want to rock with, but they were no match for Cincinnati in this game. And Cincinnati, 6-1. Cincinnati, they played nobody. Cincinnati's played people. They're 6-1. That's a good team, and they're ranked 24th. You guys aren't paying attention. I'm paying attention. I've been picking Cincinnati every week. Every week. No, I'm not just exaggerating. I'm picking Cincinnati every single week. Maybe I didn't pick them against Nebraska. Maybe I did. I don't remember. But I picked them every week. I've only missed once. Michigan beats Washington. I took Washington to cover the spread. Not happening, man. Damon Williams comes out here, throws 3 interceptions, gets stuffed. Yes, Coleman scored his touchdown, but Michigan went in this with a backup running back. So the bet hit. It just gets voided out, one half of the parlay, because I had Coleman for a touchdown, Haynes for a touchdown. Haynes didn't play. But this whole game was about Zach Marshall's coming out party. Zach Marshall played well. I'm sorry, Andrew Marshall and Zach Marshall. Or Zach Marshall, Andrew Marsh. Sorry about that. Both of them played really well. Big plays when they needed them. I thought Michigan is going to be old reliable. You just lean upon them. They're going to get it done. They'll eventually pull away. Jordan Marshall ran well. Everything was cool. My boy Denzel Boston is an NFL wide receiver. Can't hold him down. He's going to do his thing. He's going to look the part. But at the end of the day, Michigan is still Michigan football. They're 5-2. They're 5-2, just like LSU. Should they hit the panic button? They're 5-2. Why is a 5-2 team unranked and another 5-2 ranked? UConn, Boston College. Man, send Boston College packing, bro. I took Boston College to cover the spread. I just said I'll trust a bigger brand over UConn. This is a rivalry game, all that shit. Man, UConn took that shit personal. 5-2, UConn. Hit the panic button. 5-2, UConn comes out here, beats Boston College. Boston College 1-6. Dude, how did this team lose to Delaware? That's what you got to ask yourself. UConn, 4 touchdowns. Fagnano was everywhere he needed to be. Felt like Visa. And then Grayson James played decent. I thought he played okay. They ran well. Boston College did everything right. They just fall apart when it matters. And they can't stop Skylar Bell. Skylar Bell, leading receiver at UConn. Every single week, he's going to beat somebody. This is a young man that should be at Wisconsin right now, one of the leading receivers at Wisconsin before he transferred. He just left. He just up and left and said, I'm not going to be there anymore. That place sucks. And he's right. Plays a shithole. And you got UConn. UConn would beat Wisconsin too. Shout out to UConn winning the game, and I'm sorry I faded you. And then we get to Houston and Arizona. I picked Arizona. I knew Houston's good. Houston got a bunch of white boys that can play ball. But I like Noah Fafita. I like the way he throws, so I rock with him. He did well. Noah Fafita had 2 passes hit the ground. Understand that. 24 for 26 for Noah Fafita. There's no way he can play any better. I just don't know what they're doing. I don't know why they don't hand the ball off to Ishmael Mahdi more. Ishmael Mahdi's got breakaway speed. He's does the best with what he's got. And still, they'll give the ball to Riscano more. It's weird, man, the way these guys do things, the way these coaches do things. It's just so weird. Dean Connors rushes for 20 times for 100 yards. This is the most boring team around. I told you take Connor Wegman's under rushing yards, then they turn around and use him for 14 carries and another 98 yards rushing. They hadn't used Connor Wegman in weeks as a running back, and then this week they do. It's fucking nuts. Rico, you got it wrong. Vegas got it wrong. They had the line at 20. They got it wrong either way. I got it wrong on the under, but what the fuck? They had it at 20. They didn't have it 70. They didn't have it 80. They didn't know he was rushing for 100 yards either. Nobody did. So it really sucks when I get it wrong, but it really sucks when these teams change their scheme and their strategy from week to week. That just blows. Shout out to Tanner Kozil. That's an anytime touchdown waiting to happen. The 6'7" tight end. Always believe in him. And then Amari Thomas, the UAB transfer. Stud of a player, probably the best athlete on this team. Does his thing. The defense for Houston is what they've been relying upon all season. They did not play well. They didn't. I know they had 4 sacks in this game, but they weren't very good. They just weren't. Arizona could score on them every chance they got. It was like whoever has the ball last is going to win this game. That's what it felt like because they were just scoring back and forth, trading touchdowns. Shout out to Arizona. Noah Fafita played great. Baylor, TCU. I told you take the over. It was on the chart. I believed in it. Some of you didn't bet it. Too bad for you. Everybody can score on Baylor. Everybody can score on Baylor, and they did. They had 3 touchdowns throwing, 3 touchdowns rushing, and everybody scored except for Eric McAllister, who I wanted to score, and he didn't. That just happens some games. Sawyer Robinson's a good quarterback. Threw for 318 yards. He also threw 3 interceptions because you're going up against a defense that I've told you, even though I bet on the over, even though it looks like he had scored a bunch of points, the defense at TCU is going to make a play when they need to, when it matters. And that'll be one of those interceptions. It'll be a sack. It'll be something because individually, those players are very good. That's what it is. TCU might not be shutting people down as a unit. They might not stop everybody from scoring, things like this. But if you have individuals and they're all pretty good, somebody's going to step up and make a play when it matters. Whether it, doesn't matter who it is. OB, the linebacker, the Bud at safety. It doesn't matter who it is. Somebody's going to make a play. They're trying to go towards Bryson Washington was actually benched in this game for fumbling, and they're leaning towards Knighton and Turner more. I don't know what that's about. Dude, if your star running back fumbles, don't bench him. Just keep using him. What are we doing? That's silly, bro. You want to teach him a lesson? Do it some other time. Do it some other fucking time. I don't know. But in the middle of the game, that's not the time to do it. It really isn't. You know, lose the game because of it. Shout out to them. Yeah, there's Namdi. Namdi played great, had an interception. Just players that you need to make plays, they're going to make them. So Namdi and Bud Clark, Elam Zor, like all these are the types of dudes that I would rely upon. If you're going to war, you want to go with some gangsters you know have done it before. Shout out to TCU. They're filled with gangsters. By the way, TCU, 5-2, unranked. Are they nobody? They're a fucking very good football team. This is a good football team. And they're 5-2 unranked. Good football team. There are good football teams not ranked. Here's another one. Tulane, very good football team. Unfortunately, Tulane could not stop Army. This game was hard to watch. Tulane doesn't cover the spread, but they win the game money line. So I get it wrong. I had Tulane as a lock to cover the spread of 9.5 points. I just don't understand. I don't understand why you don't stack the box and force them to beat you passing. How in the fuck does Cade Helms have 39 rushes for 155 yards? This is the quarterback. Just keeping the ball over and over and over. They're running the wing T, bro. They're running some nonsense. And you can't cover one tight end. Brady Anderson's getting open every single play. And I'm so frustrated. But we're still right on the money line. We still got it right. Go parlay that money line with stuff that we know can't miss. That's what I tell you guys every time. I did. It was on the chart. Tulane, Texas, Pittsburgh. Rico, what games do you believe in the most? Tulane, Texas, Pittsburgh. Why? Because who they're playing against. Army can't score. Texas playing Kentucky. They can't score. Pittsburgh playing Syracuse. They got the worst quarterback in America. Felt pretty good about it. Oh, by the way, I was right. Jake Retzlaff is a dual threat quarterback. They don't use him enough. He can run for days. He's probably the best running option on this team. They didn't use him right. I told you there was an advantage at the wide receiver room. I knew Jake Retzlaff was going to throw 2 touchdowns in this game. I knew he was going to have a lot of yards because he normally doesn't throw for 200 yards. I knew it because these receivers are better than the DBs at Army by a wide margin. They were all wide open the whole game. What's the problem? Fucking time of possession. The problem is time of possession. Army had this ball for 8 minutes of drive. I'm not exaggerating. 8 minutes of drive. Fucking nuts. I wish I had the time of possession chart in front of me. Let me go to Gamecast. 38 fucking minutes, bro. 40 minutes. That's 2/3 of the game with these jokers over here. 2/3 of the game. It's fucking nuts. What is this? Minute 26, right? 7-minute long drive. 13 plays, 7-minute long drive. 14 plays, 8-minute long drive. It's wild, bro. That's insane. And they cover the spread. We still got the game right. And then there's another service academy. Central Michigan probably did the same exact thing to Bowling Green. Time of possession, Central Michigan. No, it's about even. Yeah, it's just Bowling Green sucks, man. Bowling Green, hardest team to look at this. 15 penalties for 100. I'm going to go back and watch it. Central Michigan does nothing but run the ball. They can't throw it at all. Look at this. They threw the ball 5 times in this game. They dare you to try to stop them from running the ball. This is a service academy. Central Michigan threw the ball 5 times again. That had to be super frustrating. Can't wait. 2 interceptions from Lucian Anderson. I don't even know who the fuck Lucian Anderson is. That should tell you something. I don't know who this is. Leading the team in rushing and passing. I can't wait to watch this game back. I can't wait to. I watch MAC football on Tuesdays. Best day of my fucking week. Tuesdays. I'm in the gym on the treadmill watching the game. Fucking hating life. Gideon Lamprin leads the team in tackles, plays well. It doesn't matter. We got linebackers over here that can stop and make plays and do things. What a terrible game. Miami of Ohio and EMU. I took EMU to cover an alternate spread. They didn't cover the right spread, but they did cover the alternate. We were right there. EMU can throw the ball a little bit. They can move the ball. They can do things. They didn't run well, but they could throw it a little bit, and they did that. On the other side, DeQuan Finn playing hero football. I never like it, but he did manage to rush for 58 yards, 2 touchdowns. And this comes down to, once again, all the teams figuring out that Eastern Michigan can't stop the run. If you have a team with an offensive line and athletes, you can beat Eastern Michigan. They can't stop the run. It's been all year. Every single time you go look at that box score, they're going to run it 55 times. This is Miami of Ohio. They run it 55 times. They've been struggling to run the ball all year, and they come out and average 5 yards a pop, 295 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. It is a template to beat Eastern Michigan. If you got a running game, go out and use it. It's not going to be stopped. And Eastern Michigan gets beat every time. Shout out to Miami of Ohio. They have no business scoring 44 points. This is not really the way this game should have been. The 16 points in the fourth quarter by each team is crazy. UCF, Western Virginia. We're fading bad quarterback play, and that's all you have at Western Virginia. They have 2 freshmen. They don't know which one they want to play. So this game, they started Scotty Fox. Eventually, they went back to Wilkins. They're just alternating these guys. They're having tryouts. These are bona fide scrimmages. This is not real football. They're doing this thing, and neither one of them can really play football. You can see it here. They've completed 11 passes between the two of them, 28 attempts, 11 completions. That's terrible for an entire game. No touchdown, 79 yards. They're averaging less than 3 yards an attempt. That is horrifically bad. This is the worst quarterback play in America. These two right here, Scotty Fox and Khalil Wilkins. Now, both of them can run. So they got a dual threat ability. They're using everybody to run the ball. They know they can't throw it, so they're even handing it off to Gerard Bowie. They're handing it off to all kinds of players, so they know they can't throw it. Doesn't matter. Hubbard led them in rushing last week. Doesn't matter. Not getting the carries this week. They're going to run with something else. Quarterback run. It's crazy. Now, last thing I said before this game, before I took UCF to cover a 7.5-point spread, last thing I said was UCF has a running back named Jaden Nixon, and he's too fast for West Virginia's defense. West Virginia's defense can't handle the speed of Jaden Nixon. This is exactly what I said in the video. Go back and watch it. When I make assessments like that, that means you need to go find him on Prize Picks, or you need to take UCF and really believe in it. We're fading West Virginia because they're the worst quarterback play in America, and I like UCF's speed against this speed. What does Jaden Nixon do? He breaks for an 83-yard run. He has 7 carries for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm not guessing. I'm evaluating talent and telling you the difference in speed. Where it's at on the chart is irrelevant. This is my assessment. This is what I'm rocking with. You can believe me or you won't. Got it right. Taven Jackson, starting quarterback for this game. This is a blessing in disguise. They finally don't have to play Cam Fancher, who sucks. I think Taven Jackson has a lot more upside. He gets the wide receivers involved for the second week in a row. Chris Domerkant plays well. I'm still looking for a consistent wide receiver threat. There's DJ Black. DJ Black is probably the fastest player on this team, and they don't even use him right. They don't. That's a great player. Wouldn't be surprised to see him hit the portal and go somewhere else and be used properly. Nigel Kelly can't be stopped. That's a great defender. The whole team's going to play well when you have bad quarterback play. They ended up in this game with 7 sacks, which is crazy. West Virginia just doesn't have the offensive line. They had to go bargain shopping for their players. They're not going to be competitive in the Big 12. They're not. Not right now. Toledo. We don't bet on Toledo. Bum-ass Toledo, bum-ass Toledo. What do? They don't cover the spread in the first quarter. They don't cover the spread in the first half. And then they go and pour it on in the second half. Get your head out of your ass and start playing good football. We hate Toledo. I don't believe in them whatsoever. Shout out to Tucker Gleason finding his way to throw for almost 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. We had a Kenji Christian sighting. Yes. Kenji Christian is the guy. He played high school ball in Alabama, went to Virginia Tech, went to North Carolina A&T. Now he's here. I like Kenji Christian a lot. I think he runs like Eric Dickerson. Hate to make a comparison like that for a guy in the MAC, but that is a good football player. They have not been utilizing him at all. And then finally, he gets the start. They're not using Chip Trainum in this game. They're using Kenji Christian, and he goes absolute ham. Can we use him some more? Please trust him. Please trust Kenji Christian. I think he's a good football player. Rudolph had a good game. Vanderroos always has a good game. Yeah, Toledo goes out and outdoes Kent State. No big deal. We know who the seller of the MAC is. And then the miracle of all miracles. The fucking miracle of all miracles. I told you Buffalo's winning this game, covering the spread at 16.5 points. It's no sweat. Don't worry about it. There's nothing I would ever do to take UMass, and I would never take UMass in a million years. Like, there's just no way. I'm not taking UMass. I'm not taking UMass. Buffalo has a stout defense. They have all-American linebackers. They have Red Murdoch. They have good corners. They have good coaching. Buffalo's winning this game. It's a no sweat. Bet the spread. Go to bed. Like, don't worry about none of this. We got this. What the fuck happened? I'll tell you what happened. UMass had a renewed interest in their run game. And UMass decides, we're going to go run this joint. And Brandon Hood is too good to be at UMass. Brandon Hood's a good running back. And he goes out here and he rushes for 179 yards on 24 carries. But listen to me. The biggest issue here is coaching. Buffalo, their offensive coordinator, their head coach, they have allowed themselves to be a different team than they are. Like their skill set is blue collar, offensive line play, running you the fuck over with a 1,000-yard rusher and Al-J Henderson. And instead, they can't run you over. They're not running you over. And they're throwing the ball 55 fucking times with a guy in Taquan Robertson who can't throw the ball. He's naturally inaccurate. I want to stress this again. There are certain quarterbacks who can throw a spiral. There are certain quarterbacks who can complete passes. There are. And then there are those that can do it with touch, do it with velocity, naturally. And then every now and then you'll see a quarterback that just chucks it and it goes 10 feet over somebody's head. And you go, what the fuck was that? It just happens every now and then. A little Chuck Knobloch. It just boom, way the fuck off. You're like, what was that? Those aren't quarterbacks. Those are athletic people who know how to throw a spiral. Not quarterbacks. You can find a guy right now that can throw a 90-mile-per-hour fastball. You can find a guy that can just rip it. You go to the carnival right now, go to that machine, and he'll reach back, and he'll just rip a ball, 90, 80, whatever it is. You'll find people like that. They can't throw it over the plate. They can't paint the plate where they want to do it. They can't throw a curve when they need it, or a knuckle, or a sinker, or a slider. They can't do any of that. That is Taquan Robertson over here. He can throw a spiral. He can throw a football. But he didn't have all the throws that you need. He didn't have all the right tools to be a quarterback. Not like this, no. So a lot of what you see here is a team that's making it harder on themselves. A lot of 3-and-outs or just wasted possessions. And you got these receivers that I believe in Victor Snow all day. Josiah Gathings all day. These are good wide receivers. You don't make this the focal point of how you want to get down. And CJ, we'll make sure you don't see yapping anymore, bro. We'll make sure you never see us, bro. We never forget that. You fucking loser. Embrace your life. That's the problem here, is when you see these quarterbacks, these guys are athletic, they're good, they can throw a spiral. They can't do what you need them to do, meaning take something off of it for the dump off. I can't tell you how many times I see a quarterback just gun it at a dude 5 yards in front of him. There's no reason to, but that's all he knows. Or one hits the dirt. This is Lenore Sellers. This is a lot of these guys who just don't have it. And then when you see the guys who got it, you're like, yo, look at that dude right there. He's painting. He's a fucking artist. He's painting the field. Buffalo is going to have problems. Now, in this particular game, the score is 21-20, and Buffalo's going down to try to score, try to win the game, get in field goal range or whatever. And for whatever reason, one of those passes just goes errant throw. And UMass intercepts it. And as soon as they intercept it, they're waving by. The safety's waving by as he intercepts it. We're watching it on the live stream. Remember, I live stream all the games with the MVPs. We're live streaming it. We're watching it. And I have all these windows open, all the games. I'm watching them all. It looks like a war, I'm just watching them all. I closed that motherfucker real quick. I closed it. The game's over. What do I got to watch it for? Interception, 59 seconds left on the clock. Game's over. And I'm out this joint. And I go back to the UFC fights for the MVPs. I have half the screen UFC, half the screen football, and we're going to UFC fights. And I see one of the comments in the section, and it's like, Rico, go back to Buffalo. We got the ball back. What? What do you mean we got the ball back? How? What are you talking about? It's 3 knees, and we're out of this joint. It's 3 run plays. The game's over. Well, they had timeouts? Okay. What are you talking about? Bro, I turn it on, and I see Victor Snow catching a fade, shaking hands with a kid in the end. Like, what? What? UMass, bro. UMass doesn't know how to win. They can't win. They don't know how to win. I think the UMass coaches had Buffalo money line. This is crazy. Crazy for UMass to lose that game. Absolutely embarrassing. Fucking nuts. Oh, by the way, UMass, if you're watching this, I got players that'll make your team better. I got players looking for an FBS offer, bro. I got really good players. They can help you, bro. They're looking for an FBS level offer. They'll go to UMass and play there, bro. They qualify academically. They're better than the players you got. I got them on my high school film review playlist. I'm just throwing out a pitch for you guys. I'm just letting you know. Northwestern goes out here and blanks Purdue. Purdue quarterback play is bad. I told you guys this before the game. And I think we have to just consistently believe that bad quarterback play is what we're going to bet against. So I'm going to try that strategy moving forward, and we'll see how it works out. But we can't believe in Purdue because of their quarterback play. Before the season started, I told you Purdue's going to win less than 3.5 games. It was a lock. I put it up on Patreon. I made videos about it, talking about it. And here we are, and this was the only game that they had a chance to win to get to 3 wins. They have no chance of winning any games the rest of the year. So Purdue's going to lose out. They're not going to win any games. Purdue has no quarterback play. They bench Ryan Brown during this game. They bring in Malachi Singleton. I've been watching Malachi Singleton since North Cobb, his sophomore year in the playoffs, meaning I've been watching him a long time. He didn't get to play at all at Arkansas, and then here he is. He finally gets to play. Comes out, throws an interception. He's not very good. That's a young man who just was overdeveloped in high school. He hit puberty before everyone else. So when everybody else was 16, he was probably 18 as a sophomore and just balling out of control. Now, I don't know his age, but I'm just letting you know that's what it looked like. A grown man. So everybody was like making a big deal out of it. This kid made the playoffs. He's a dual threat quarterback. He looks like a grown man. I have not seen any improvement, any development from Malachi Singleton from his sophomore year in high school to now. I haven't seen him get any better. He's the same guy he was when I saw him. Everybody's caught up. All the kids, they all got facial hair. They all hit puberty. They all got bigger, stronger, faster. And he's just been the same guy. So there's nothing there to be excited about. I think their quarterback play is bad. They couldn't run the ball. Maccabee wasn't effective as a runner. Northwestern is not exceptional. Northwestern is not exceptional, but they actually know who they are. They know their identity. Another thing about Northwestern, they have a quarterback they know. It's Preston Stone. He's played a lot of football games. Yes, he's a turnover waiting to happen. He always has a turnover every game, at least one or more. So he's always going to fumble or throw a pick. He threw a pick in this game, but he's fine. They don't give a shit. They're going to keep it pretty vanilla, keep it simple. It'll be the most boring thing in the world. They don't give a shit. They got a white boy, Griffin Wild, South Dakota State transfer wide receiver. I've talked about him every single week. I've been right about him every single week, and he's going to get his yards, and he got his touchdown as well. But this is just bad football all the way around. Both these teams. Purdue's just worse. Shout out to Northwestern. You are 3-1 in the Big Ten, and that's crazy. By the way, Northwestern 5-2. Should they hit the panic button? Fucking idiots. Troy, this was a lock for me. I told you Troy's going to beat ULM, and it all came down to quarterback play. I talked about this in the pregame. I told you I like the way Tucker Kilcrease looks when I watch him on tape. He looks like a real quarterback. He can go get it done. He threw for 223 yards and a touchdown. Before the game, I told you we had a Rara Thomas sighting. He only had 1 catch for 9 yards. Ethan Connor's probably the best tight end in the Sun Belt. You don't know. He's the best tight end in the Sun Belt, period. He's a very talented player. Trey Taylor going out there doing his thing. Running. They got back to Tay Meadows running the ball. Decent enough. But this really comes down to ULM and their ineptitude. ULM quarterback play is probably in the bottom 5 in America. They're trying to use anyone and everyone. I'd say Hunter Herring is my favorite quarterback in this little room, but he's not that kind of guy. They always use Aiden Armenta. Not good. They do play decent defense. They get the most out of their players. They got some coaching going on, but it's not something I would be too excited about all the way around for ULM. Pretty easy hit for me as a lock, believing in Troy. Shout out to them. Thank you for the attire. Thank you to Troy for giving me the shirt as well. I don't buy any of these shirts. They're all gifts. They're all sent to me. I appreciate you guys. I think I got an Arizona shirt this week. I got there's another one on the way. I don't know where it's from. SMU beats Clemson. We saw this coming. The spread was 5.5 for Clemson. Don't give a shit. You have a backup quarterback. He played decent. He threw his passes, did his thing. But unfortunately in this game, my boy Brian Wesco got injured. So Wesco, the best receiver on this team, at least by my assessment, him and Antonio Williams are pretty good. But Wesco got injured, and I want to say he's going to be out for an extended period of time. They still have no running game. They have no running back whatsoever. Adam Randall's not a running back. They have no ability to run this ball. It's nuts when I see Peter Woods get as many carries as Gideon Davidson. That's just silly. I don't know what you're doing at practice. You're wasting your time at practice, letting defensive tackles run the ball more than actual running backs that you've recruited. I can't wait till a former walk-on is the starting running back on this team so we can talk about how many running back recruits they missed on for the last 5 years. It's just the reality of the situation. And you look on the other side, the cupboard is exciting. It's full. It's not bare. Kevin Jennings, a good quarterback, doing his thing against an elite defense. He played well. And Chris Johnson is starting to get more burn. I told you, that's the fastest running back in America. Fastest running back in America is Chris Johnson Jr. at SMU. And he did it again. 6 carries, 59 yards, and a touchdown, averaging almost 10 yards a carry. He broke free last time. And if you're getting more burn and more carries than Derek McFall, that's pretty good too, because both of those guys are a 1-2 punch you don't want to mess with. TJ Harden, the UCLA transfer. Boo-boo to full. 11 carries, 16 yards. Not getting it done at all. That dude's got no vision. It's crazy. He's got no vision. It's crazy. So, SMU found a way to win. SMU, they're nobody, Rico. They're 5-2, undefeated in the ACC. Should they hit the panic button? No, there are unranked teams that are very good, and SMU is one of them. Clemson fired Dabo. I'm tired of it. Air Force, Wyoming, this one was tough, man. We don't cover the spread. Liam Zarka couldn't throw the ball in the game, but they were still able to run like crazy. Wyoming's defense is good. Let's just call it what it is. The defense is good. The offense is terrible. And so we'll take it like, we'll just say it like that. I was on the over, got it wrong, because of Wyoming's defense was competitive in this game. But I also had Air Force money line. I feel pretty proud about that. Shout out to Air Force. Thank you for getting it done. I'll talk about those individual players when I see them on a weekday game. UNLV, Boise State. I've told you guys. Had this right. It was just, I can't get off it. Boise State has been playing tremendous football. They're the best group of 5 team in America, despite them losing to South Florida at the beginning of the year. They are back. They have figured it out. I am 100% dialed in with who Boise State is. I knew they were going to beat an undefeated UNLV team handedly. UNLV's defense doesn't stop anything. Boise State put up multiple touchdowns in every single quarter except for the fourth when they called off the dogs. It was unreal. I already knew this was happening. I called it. I even told you, I'm so dialed in on Boise State. I said, guys, Syer Gaines is going to get a rushing touchdown. They're going to have Dylan Riley carry that ball from 20 to 20, and then when they get in the red zone, they're going to pull Dylan Riley out, and there's Syer Gaines, and he'll get his touchdown. It's exactly what happened in the game. 100% right. Shout out to me. Not even worried about it. I know who they are and what they are. Oh, let's take Chris Marshall. We're going to take his over yards receiving as well because he is too talented in this game. He won't be stopped. There's Chris Marshall, 96 yards and a touchdown. I know Boise State inside and out. You can't throw on that Boise State secondary. If you're going to try to, you will throw an interception. Colin Drea, that's exactly what happened. He threw an interception. Running the ball, I took Jet Thomas to score a touchdown. I actually took him to score 2. He only scored 1. It's unfortunate. They started giving carries to Jalen Glover. Congratulations. Wide receivers, not very good. There's no good receivers at UNLV. I'm sure they're good, talented players, but they're not guys that you're going to bet on and be relied upon, especially against the Boise State defense. Boise State, they're 5-2. Should they hit the panic button? Asking for a friend. Fucking idiots. Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina beats App State. App State, you fall apart. App State had this in the bag. Had it in the bag, and then Coastal scores 28 points in the second half. It's this Samari Collier. We got to change the way we're assessing Coastal Carolina moving forward. That's that. They found their quarterback. He's a dual-threat kid, Samari Collier. Second week in a row, he's played out of his fucking mind. Goes out there, carries the ball everywhere, runs it everywhere, throws it everywhere, cannot stop scoring. Shout out to him. Oh, and shout out to MJ Morris because we had an MJ Morris sighting. I'm a big MJ Morris guy. Unfortunately for him, he's just found his way to the bench. But Javen Simpkins, the backup or the running back, starting running back, he was my hidden gem last year. I told you he was going to be a stud. Things didn't work out, got injured, whatever. Here he is. He's being a stud this year. So they get it done, man. It's unfortunate. J.J. Cole played okay. I was more impressed with the fact that Coastal was able to stuff the run. Rashad Dubinion found nowhere to go. Ja'Quari Lewis, nowhere to go. These guys could not run the ball at all, and that was the difference in this game. It's a damn shame. Damn shame. So, App State, you fall apart, and Coastal wins. Speaking of falling apart, ODU. ODU gets absolutely throttled by JMU. JMU goes 6-1. I took JMU to cover the spread, win the game. I told you it was a coin flip game. Got it done. Just played clean football. Cleaner football than Colton Joseph and the boys. Colton Joseph, those 2 interceptions. They could not run it. That's crazy that you couldn't run the ball, and they could not stop Alonzo Barnett from doing what he wanted to do. I don't know how this works where ODU's linebackers are all Americans. The defense is stout from one week to the next. And then all of a sudden, JMU takes the template that Marshall had by using CDRW, right? Carlos Del Rio Wilson as a dual threat quarterback. That's what Marshall did. Marshall used CDRW to beat ODU 2 weeks ago. JMU turns around and does the same exact thing with Alonzo Barnett. They see something on tape. They got the player for it. And they say, yo, we can do this. We can beat you with our dual threat quarterback. And they use Sluka as well. But 4 rushing touchdowns for Barnett, 17 carries, 153 yards. That has not been their strategy every single week. They did it to ODU based upon what they saw on tape the week before. It's incredible stuff. Landon Ellis keeps winning one-on-ones for the second week in a row. He's just the guy that you can believe in. Nobody else am I really going to believe in like that. Even if Nick did his thing, number 11 over here, even if he did his thing, I'm still not on him like that. It is what it is. But, yeah, congratulations. Shout out to JMU for putting up 63 points on ODU and showing everybody there's levels to this. They're still undefeated in the Sun Belt. JMU look like a playoff team. Speaking of looking like a playoff team, Marshall wins this in double overtime over Texas State. Carlos Del Rio Wilson doing it again, throwing the ball, running the ball. How was he not starting to start the season? They were starting that Jaquan Long dude. They were starting Long at quarterback, and now they've changed it up. I'm not a big Marshall guy. I know they have no depth on defense. I know they're not good, but look at Texas State. The wheels have fallen off. What has hurt Texas State? You lost your offensive coordinator 2 years ago. You lost a bunch of your players to the transfer portal. And now you are just not who you need to be. We need to all remember this. Texas State is 0-3 in the Sun Belt. They are not who we thought they were. Remember that. They got 2 little wide receivers, both under 6 feet tall. Little badass white dudes. Don't get it twisted. Well, not white. Chris Don's not white. But Bo Sparks, little white dude, little badass dude. He's always open. They're going to get their yards. They're going to get their numbers. But running, nothing I saw that was consistent. Brad Jackson's okay. But once they get out of their element, now they're not dual threatish anymore. Now it's just we're going to drop back and pass. And bad things happen when you try to pass the ball. Bad things happen. You can get sacked. You can throw an interception. You can have an incompletion, a drop. A lot of things can go wrong when you're trying to throw the ball. Just a lot of variables. Shout out to Marshall. They win the game. Didn't see it coming. You know what I did see coming? Temple. Temple wins. They beat Charlotte. Big. Charlotte can't score, can't keep pace. Evan Simon still has yet to throw an interception this season. He's playing great. Ducker's known commodity at running back. They know who they are. Temple not having tryouts. They're not trying nothing new. You look at Charlotte. Charlotte's trying something new every single week. So at quarterback, this time it was Grayson Loftus, not the JUCO kid and Wilkie. Running back, Jake Davids. Where the fuck did Jake Davids come from? Well, they just got tired of running Rod Gainey. Well, I don't blame you. Rod Gainey sucks. But I also told you, let's try Cameron Smith. Well, that didn't work out either. They're just trying a number of guys. They don't know who they got, what they got. Open tryouts every week for Charlotte, one of the worst teams in America. Not even close. The only receiver you can believe in, Javen Nicholas. He is fast. He is good. Not good enough to win you a game or anything like that. It is what it is. Defensively, decent players, but they're not going to do anything with that offense the way they're doing it. So 49 points by Temple, and they called off the Dogs in the fourth quarter. Guess who didn't call off the Dogs? Ball State did not call off the Dogs. Ball State pulls away, wins this game huge. Ben Finley is still the worst quarterback in the MAC. Ben Finley sucks. Can't believe in Ben Finley. Let's fade all bad quarterback play. Kyle Kelly's not a good quarterback either, but at least he's a dual threat and can run the ball. He rushed for 3 touchdowns in this game. Ball State, here's how we got to look at this next time, because I picked Akron. The way you need to look at this is Ball State beat Ohio. Could Akron ever beat Ohio? Like, in what alternate universe could Akron ever beat Ohio? That should have been it. That's the end of the conversation. I need to do some MMA math in this joint. I didn't do it. Shout out to me. There's Ohio. Speak of the devil. Why did I take Ohio in this game and I knew they weren't going to lose? Because NIU has no offense whatsoever. Like, none. They got nothing. And that's exactly what happened in this game. They were unable to keep pace and keep scoring. Parker Navarro did not throw well, but they ran their ass off. They ran for 147 yards with Say Bangora. Duncan Brune, first time I ever saw him was this week. Dude goes out there, 16 carries, 126 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So welcome to the show. Going to be good. We'll figure it out. The only guy that ever gets passes from Ohio is Chase Hendricks, and he did his thing, 10 receptions, 108 yards. Believe in him. Division II transfer, DeRee Rogers, comes out here, does his thing. Unfortunately for him, he said they would never lose. either at home or something like that. Dude, they're 0-3 in the MAC. They're going to lose a lot. They got one win all year. So NIU's just going to have a tough season. They don't have the cupboard's bare. They don't have the pieces. Speaking of not having the pieces, UTSA. I don't know what else they got to do. I don't know what they got to do, but I love North Texas in this matchup. I took North Texas to cover the spread. Drew Mestamaker looked like a master painter out there. Caleb Hawkins is the guy you can believe in. They got a guy named Kiefer Sutherland, Kiefer Sibley. He's good. The receivers can't be stopped. Everybody's open. Wyatt Young's open. Caleb Hawkins is open. Cameron Doner's open. Trey Williams, my other tight end, is open. Dalton Carnes is still waiting for a catch. Like, they just got too many players. And I look at UTSA, they're very underwhelming this year. Very underwhelming. G.J. Kinney, Texas State, UTSA, both of them, bum ass this year. Bum. Terrible. And the cupboard was loaded for these guys, but they're fumbling everywhere. 3 fumbles? 3 fumbles? You lose 3 fumbles. Fumble 5 times, but you lost 3 of them. That's fucking wild, bro. Absolutely wild. Your leading tackler is Kendrick Blackshire. This is the guy from, where did he come from? Duncanville. Went to Alabama, couldn't see the field. Went to Texas, couldn't see the field. Came over here. Now he's leading you in tackle. I know that guy can't play football at all. At all. And that's your guy. Remember, they got rated by the transfer portal. Their defense is bad. How many players did they use on defense? This is when you know a team gave up. How many players did they let play? Look at that shit. They let all 40 defensive players play. UTSA ain't real. They don't respect your coin. Shout out to Mississippi State. They're better than we think they are. Got to keep saying it. Stop fading them. They are 0-3 in the SEC. I thought they won this game. They kicked a field goal that looked like it went in, and it didn't, apparently. They said it missed. I don't believe that at all. And then they lose the game at the end. Heartbreak. Throw an interception by Blake Shapen at the end. He was playing a good game up until that point. He really was. Seeing Mississippi State be competitive with Florida is a little concerning for Sunbelt Billy. DJ Lagway sucks. He's not my guy at all. And Jaden Baugh did his thing. He's always going to get a touchdown or whatever. But Florida's not good. Florida's not good because they have a terrible quarterback. And you got to fade bad quarterback play. So who's going to cover the spread? The good quarterback. Blake Shapen's a good quarterback. They cover the spread. Wish they would have won the game. But how about Mississippi State fans? How about my boy? He says to me, where is it at on the... I want to pull up the Discord server. I don't want to get too crazy, but I got a DM and all he said was, "Hey, Rico, we're in games. That's the most I could ask for. I can't be mad because at least we're in games." And I'm just like, man, you could ask for a win. You guys hit the field goal. You should have won that game. I'm a little disappointed for the Mississippi State fans. I am, because they deserve to, like, they were in that game. They should have won. For sure. So, it hurts. Shout out to Sultan SWAT. Don't be too down on yourself, bro. All right. Southern Miss Louisiana. Louisiana, bad quarterback play. Walker Howard is back, but he's not healthy, and Lunch Winfield gives them their best chance. He's a dual threat kid. They've been using him a couple while. I don't care. Southern Miss gets it done. Braylon Braxton's much better. Pittman's reliable. This defense is reliable. They had a long play, went 98 yards, all that stuff, but this is a good team. We'll take it. Covered the spread. It was a lock for me. I believed in it. Shout out to Southern Miss. Iowa finds a way to win. Beats Penn State. That's crazy because Grunkenmeyer over here, you go face Iowa's defense for your first time. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Isn't it crazy how Nicholas Singleton's been phased out of the offense? They're just running Katron Allen and only Katron Allen. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. You don't have a 1-2 punch anymore. Now you just have a 1 punch. Now you have one of the best players on your team not touching the ball at all. I don't know. I'm just a guy. I'm not the coach. But they couldn't stop anything they were seeing. And now Penn State's got to play Ohio State next week. Penn State's got to play Ohio State next week. Yo. UCLA, 3-0. 3-0, UCLA. Shout out to you. By the way, the 30 for 30 finally missed. Octavian Smith didn't get his yards. Neither did Dorian Fleming. I usually take them for 25 for 25. It didn't happen. Malik Washington played okay. Didn't play great. Probably the only semblance of offense they had was Malik, but it wasn't enough. UCLA, inspired football, man. You find a way to win with Nico throwing 2 interceptions. That secondary at Maryland is special. You should see how many interceptions they have as a team. Everything they're doing. I think that's special the way that Maryland's playing their defense, and they still lost this game. UCLA, 3-4, 3-1 in the Big Ten. Let them go run this table in the Big Ten. What if UCLA doesn't lose another Big Ten game? What if they don't lose another Big Ten game? It'd be exciting, bro. Shout out to them. They are doing what they can with what they have. I still don't believe in UCLA, but they found a way to win. Maryland covered the spread, by the way. We got that right. Hawaii, Colorado State. I knew this was happening. Shout out to Hawaii. Too many receivers, too fast, can't be covered. Jackson Harris. If you got a speed deficiency in the secondary, we're going to call it out. We're going to exploit it. Going to do it. Hawaii's going bowling. They're 6-2. They're not ranked. Should we panic? They're 6-2. They're not ranked. Should we panic? Shut up. Played fucking great, out of his mind, doing their thing. This team over here in this running back room, this is when you got to fire coaches, because Justin Marshall just proved to you last week he can carry this team, and then you go back and only give him 4 carries. So I don't know what it's like to be a football player on some of these inconsistent teams, but it's got to be highly frustrating. It has to be. You want to argue with coach. That's fucking nuts, bro. Dude played out of his mind last week, and now this week he can't get any burn. I don't know. Easiest call of the week for me. Georgia Southern is a much better team than Georgia State. They proved it. They scored 21 points in the fourth quarter to pull away. Yes, Georgia State was competitive initially. Cameron Brown's their quarterback. There is no more quarterback controversy. Don't want to hear about TJ Finley signing late and all this stuff. Rashad Amos, still a bum. We had a Rashad Amos sighting. Still a bum. Never believe in Rashad Amos, ever. There he is, 9 carries, 29 yards. I bet he wishes he was still at Miami of Ohio. Then you got J.C. French, played out of his mind, 3 touchdowns. J.C. French led the team in rushing, which is crazy. O.J. Arnold still effective. Arnold caught passes, effective, good. I wish we'd throw the ball more to Dalen Cobb, Cannon Brown, maybe one of the Dallas brothers. Like, do something, bro. Help me out. I do want to give a big shout out to Teddy Hurst. Ted Hurst is the one bright spot on Georgia State. He's mossing people. He's playing great. I like the way Ted Hurst plays football. He's one of my special hidden gems in the group of 5. Shout out to Ted Hurst. I think he's NFL talent. I think he is. I don't know if NFL teams like him, but I like him. Shout out to him. This is an easy call. We'll take it all day. Another easy call. Pittsburgh beating Syracuse. Why? Because Ricky Collins is not a good quarterback. And Ricky Collins will have Syracuse losing every single game. There's it. Pitt, 5-2, unranked. They lost to Louisville when Louisville came back to beat them. We just saw Louisville throttle Miami by 3. No, these guys can play. You got a freshman at quarterback. He just got to figure his stuff out. But he ran really well in the game. He's just crafty, man. He's just crafty doing his thing. I'm a little bummed out by Desmond Reed. I had Desmond Reed 40 yards rushing and a touchdown. It didn't happen. They didn't use him as much. They had a punt return for a touchdown. They just find ways to win. Pitt's going to find ways to win when you're playing these bum-ass teams who just aren't built the same. They're not. Pitt's good, man. Good coaching at Pitt. I want to make that very clear. That's why they're 5-2. Good coaching. And then you have New Mexico. They don't cover the spread. Nevada's still one of the worst teams around. Can't ever pick Nevada to cover a spread, and they're doing it. Nevada's got a different quarterback every week. This week it was Carter Jones. Where the fuck is Chubba Purdy? What are we doing? I'll never know, but they're rocking with Carter Jones now. He got rid of Chubba Purdy. You don't know this team from week to week. You don't know who the fuck they are, what they're using. It's crazy. On the other side, we know who they are. Jack Lane's going to be the quarterback. He's not the greatest, but why is he leading your team in rushing? That's crazy. Scott Trey Humphrey's my guy. I rock with Humphrey, walk with McKinney. Bankston gets no carries this week. They got 3 running backs. They got to figure it out. Throwing the ball, they only throw to the tight end, Dorian Thomas. Anybody else doesn't really matter, and it just sucks. But there you go. Doghouse. Bankston fumbles, doghouse. Coach's son always leads them in tackles. My boy Newbie's up here. I'll be watching that game on Thursday. Not excited to watch it. One game I did stay up and watch was Oregon State, and I just couldn't believe that this game was they were losing at halftime. Oregon State was. And then they came out and covered the spread and looked amazing in the second. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I saw in my eyes. I was just so dumbfounded. Shout out to Jabari Johnson for coming in the game when they needed him most. What did I tell you about this team and why I was believing in Oregon State? Who watched the early video? If you watched the early video, you're probably watching right now. So I want to talk to you guys about it. What I said was Oregon State fired Bray as their coach, right? So they fire their head coach. They're going to get away from throwing the ball 50 times a game. That's what I said. That's what I told you, MVPs. They're going to go out there and stick to their identity and run this ball. And Anthony Hankerson gets 25 carries as a team, 42 rushes compared to 23. I want you guys to understand, Oregon State, as a team, every week, was throwing the ball more than they ran. And that's not who they are. So you get out here and you do what you normally do, and the results may vary, right? They speak for themselves. Shout out to them. Just come out, run that ball, hit them in the mouth. Congratulations, you get your first win of the season. Shout out to them. And then the last game of the night. I'm in bed just watching it, laughing. I picked Florida State. I don't give a fuck. This is what gets me excited. Bengal Branson might be injured. He might be done. That's cool. Elijah Brown comes in the game. I've been on Elijah Brown train for a long time. I want to see Elijah Brown play some football. Elijah Brown comes in and plays football. Now, they didn't play well. They don't have a lot going on. They got to figure it out. Sam Roush had a couple key catches. C.J. Williams had some catches. Cole Tab was mainly the offense here. Go run the ball. But Stanford's defense is better than you think. They're competitive in these games. And thank the gods for the worst referees of all time. Like, this is nuts. Right? So if you weren't watching the game, I'm explaining it to you the best I can. Yes, it was 3 a.m. or something crazy when I was watching it. So I was a little delirious. But Thomas Castellanos sucks. Thomas Castellanos goes to slide. He gets hit. He gets knocked out of this game. It doesn't matter. Thomas ain't the guy. So then they bring in Kevin Sperry. Kevin Sperry can play. He gives you a chance. He's going to do this thing. Kevin Sperry, at one point, there's a bad snap. And he's got to scramble around and pick up the bad snap. And he's got to throw it, whatever. But they get near the end zone. And they must have traveled. I guess they had like fucking 70 yards to go with 40 seconds left or something. They drive the whole field. And now they're near the end zone. And they're going to score to tie the game. And I promise you, with no time left on the clock, they do a shovel pass to Gavin Sawchuk. And Sawchuk scores the touchdown. But these fucking review refs say he didn't score. And they can't see the ball in the end zone. But you can see his arm in the end zone. Somebody's body's in the way. You can see the guy fall forward. They got robbed. I don't care. Florida State 0-4 in the ACC. Hasn't won a game in conference play in a year. We're never picking Florida State again. Fuck Florida State. I think the locker room's broken. I think the coach should be fired. They don't evaluate talent correctly. They don't develop anyone. They got really lucky they hit in the transfer portal 2 years ago, and that extended everybody's job for a couple years. These guys suck. And you lost to Stanford. Fuck out of here, bro. Shout out to them. I'm going to jump to the chat one last time. Thank you for watching the Results Show. Thank you for being here. TikTok, if you're watching, all you got to do is move over to YouTube, drop it in the chat. I'd answer to you guys. What's up? Let's go. Shout out to the MVPs. Hopefully there's not much to say here. Let's see what it says. Do you think Louisville would have been better sticking with Harrison Bailey? No, not necessarily. Harrison Bailey's not a good football player. Harrison Bailey couldn't start at UNLV. No, Harrison Bailey's never been good. That's a silly premise. No. Thoughts on the Penn State versus Iowa game? Rewind the show. I already talked about it. Yeah, I talk about every single game, so there's nothing there. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for talking to me. I appreciate you. Remember, your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Peace, y'all.